'Cause you leave behind in the place that you denied. The dream of life is all I find.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Becker Breaker Challenge Finals. This event is organized and ran by students from Becker College, and it is supported by the Element Discord. We have some insane prizes to run through today, so we're going to get right to that to show you what is at stake today. The casters, this is OSK with me today. I am
How's it going,
Plate
everybody?
Safe. And in first place, the winner will take home the legendary Hollow Skin, as well as a master pack that comes with 15,000 in-game currency, as well as some additional skins. Second place also takes home the master pack without the Hollow Skin, but another 1,500 for second place. Third place takes home the Battle Mage pack, which includes a couple more skins, 6,000 in-game currency, and the fourth place will take home the Mage pack with 3,500 in-game currency. All around, the prizing is ridiculous. It's going to be a big event today. There was a set of qualifiers before this to bring you the cream of the crop players. So we are going to run through and give you a quick review of what happened during those qualifiers.
Yeah, for sure. So for the first qualifier here, you're going to see some familiar names. We have Next, Tfoul, and a new name that I haven't found here recently, Gigabyte. Plenty of high-scoring plays right there. One thing to note really quick is that Next is beating everybody by over 200 points. And I mean everybody. First qualifier, second qualifier, it doesn't matter. He has the highest number of exiles and damage for the first match, and it looks like pretty much all across the board here. He is laying down the hammer. What do you think about that, Place?
I'm always expecting to see Next tear it up. That is the usual routine for him. He is dangerous in these Spellbreak lobbies, man. That is a fact. And
Absolutely.
to get to the rest of the qualifier, you can run through what else we got going on. You got Gigabyte in third, Very Crisp coming in fourth with 940 points, Tragedy Killer in fifth, Wolf taking sixth place, Moktola in seventh with 835. And we're just going to jump over and actually show you the second qualifier as well, because there was two events running at the same time, a pool of 60 players running into this finals event. In the second qualifier, Black Labby took first place with 1,193 points. Second place went to Skriba with 1,160. Fake Doc taking third with 1,147 points. And the rest of it is all going to come down to these finals. Remember, these players played great to get here, but what matters is what happens in these next 6 games. Who is going to take home that Hollow Skin? We do not know yet. But before we get into these games and get into the event itself, we're going to get a couple words from the executive producer, Cardell Kerr. He's going to tell you just a little bit about Spellbreak through some nice questions.
My name is Cardell Kerr. I am the executive producer over here at Proletariat. I was born in St. Louis, Missouri, but we moved to the Northeast when I was very, very young. So you might say that I am a long-time Northeasterner. It's 4 years now. There's an adage in the games industry where it's almost like dog years. So it feels like 28, but it is actually 4. Most successful. I would say the most successful part of it is the very, very stylized look that it has. Like, I think that that's the thing that everyone comments on. Like, no matter who you are, I mean, you may love the gameplay, you may love the setting, you may love the approach and the ideas, but everyone talks about the art style. So I think that is the most successful portion of it. So when it comes down to the most work, I think my biggest focus on that is actually it's the depth of the interaction of what you can do in the environment around you. So right now, for instance, we have a lot of spells and how the spells interact, but we don't have a lot of how that affects the environment and the world around you. So I think that's the area we're going to be looking to try to improve as we evolve the game. So when it comes to announce dates, that's always a very tricky thing and a very touchy subject. I will definitely say that we are very, very hard at work right now, even through the current state of the world, to make sure the game is the quality we want before we announce its launch date. So that is about as specific as I can get. So our main tactic to game in front of just more people, especially from the influencer side, we actually think in many ways the gameplay speaks for itself. There's not very many other games that are like it. It has a very specific kind of feel that is very different than a standard shooter. Its movement capabilities allow for these snippets that are kind of jaw-dropping at the appropriate times, and as you see players of higher and higher skill play the game, it more or less advertises itself. So really, it's going to come down to us pushing more and more imagery in front of folks, and we think that's all it'll probably take. On the surface, there's the baseline of some of the art style, and also the fact that you're more of a mage than anything else. Almost every other BR is really very gun focused, very shooter focused, very very basic shooter mechanics. In many ways, people look at Spellbreak as more of an RPG, or almost in some cases even more as a platformer. So given how strong movement applies to things, and given the fact that all of your spells have actual physical characteristics within the world, that makes the gameplay very, very different. Almost more, some people have stated it's almost closer to more of an Unreal Tournament style. But even that, I think, is kind of not correct, because Unreal Tournament was still mostly a gun-based game. All the sorceries add a lot more depth to it. All the runes add more depth to it. Even the talents and the scrolls you find add more depth to it. All of those things really do make it more of an RPG, and I think that inherently makes it very different. I guess the flippant answer is all of them. We fully expect that Spellbreak is going to make an impact in the actual, just in the game space as a whole, which means that we would hope that everyone will hear about it and everyone will have the option of choosing to play it with their friends, or obviously try it out solo if they want. So really, we really just want to build out a living world. I think that as it is right now, we started off with more of the breaker and the actual player themselves, but what we really want to do is build out a location that people feel is living, breathing, that is changing with seasons, that is changing with every single update, that it offers new gameplay experiences on a normal basis, that actually offers a fairly rich narrative lore around why the game is the way it is, why the world is the way it is. We really want to build out almost effectively what I'd view as the next big story style of games. I would say that I want to make sure that everyone in the Spellbreak community knows that we spend a great deal of time reading through all your feedback, reading into the statements you make, regardless of whether it be in Twitter or in our Discord or wherever. We really do want those opinions to keep flowing, because it's just very important for us to understand how you see the game. It really does inform a lot of decisions we make. So please keep talking. That's what I want.
And again, those were some important answers to some important questions from executive producer Cardell Kerr. We're going to quickly just give you our caster predictions, maybe a caster curse about who is going to take today's event. OSK, give me your prediction for first place.
All right, this is going to be a hot take, okay? We've seen this guy perform in and out, tournament after tournament, from the Element qualifiers to the Element Elite tournament here. He came in second place in the first qualifier, but I think he's coming out in first. This time I'm picking T-Foul, man. I think he's going to really feed off of that second round of qualifiers that scored a little bit lower, and he's going to have a lot of fuel and a lot of food to eat with.
That is a very good, that is a good prediction, but I'm also going to go with a consistent tournament player, and that is going to be on the EU side. I'm going with Next to take first place here. We see him come out to every event in game time mode. He does not crack under pressure. I'm excited to see Next go out there and perform. I'm predicting him to take home that hollow skin. I'm very excited for this event, OSK. These qualifiers have been building up to quite a finale here. We have 30 of the top qualified players competing for some very big prizing. Is there anything else you want to comment on before we get into these games?
Man, I just want to see who's going to take home that hollow, man. That is something that is so elusive, so elite. Only a few players out of the entire player base have access to that hollow skin. And it is going to be so surprising. And I think very eye opening who's really willing to have the skill and just have the will to take that very exclusive prize.
100%. And there's some added extra bonuses to these games considering a patch has recently come out that has changed some dynamics with the wind gauntlet damage. It's a little bit lower, less oppressive, less blocking. So we're going to see how that turns out. Quickly, we're going to pop ourselves over into game one momentarily here. I am more than excited to see how this one goes, especially to see how people deal with the pressure getting into the first game.
Oh, for sure. You got to shake out those jitters. I'm having a little bit myself. Just on the caster side, I can only imagine what it's like to actually be competing in here. Of course, my casting is nowhere near as bad as my gameplay, so I can only see how these players are going to speak for themselves. And here we go.
100%.
It's like we're
100%.
about
And here
to
we go.
drop right in. I'm so ready, man. I'm so ready to see who's going to open up the action here very quickly, whether they go for placement, exiles, or damage. I can tell you now, it looks like exiles and damage are going to be very highly favored in this scoring system. And dude, I'm just ready to see some fireworks.
Awesome.
I am so ready. So ready.
I'm ready too.
I'm itching. Let me see some gameplay, boy.
And here we go. We are starting out with that game one screen here. We are on to HB Muffin. Scrolling through here, he's got his legendary, his epic lightning already off the bat.
Oh my
That is
goodness.
such a good start with that Stone Shaper combination. He's going to be off cracking here. Interesting to see that he does have that Thirsty Harmony Fervor build that we saw a lot of last patch. Maybe that will still be a dominant build. I'm not 100% sure to see if we're going to see any switching up here. There was a bit of a cast speed change, so it should be a little bit different here. Now we're on to Wolf. He's got that harmony. He's got that no, he's got, yeah, he's recovery and that fortitude. So he is switching it up off of the standard. Hey, no
Yeah,
boost
for
for him either, unfortunately.
For sure. And I can tell you now he's running that Toxicologist build. And what does Toxicologist have? It has Outbreak. And what does Focus Mana do? It increases your damage. This man is going to be looking to get a free shot of Outbreak with even more damage than before, possibly even breaking the 100s. So,
Oh
and he's
my.
also running Recovery as well. So he's just going to be a tank with a lot of bursts. It's
Yeah.
interesting to see how that'll play out. He also already has an Epic Dash. Man, he's going to be schmoovin' and dealing out the damage.
We already got some kills coming down here, OSK. Syncade V2 taking a kill, Black Labby getting one off, and very crisp as well. Lots of damage. We are already down to 22 players in game one of the Becker Breaker Challenge Finals. That thinned out much quicker than I anticipated. I was expecting to see more safe plays off the drop, but I should have known that these experienced players are confident in their gameplay. People like Syncade know exactly what they're looking for, and they're looking for high scorecards, OSK.
For sure, and I want to call out Black Labby in particular here. The winner of the second qualifiers is already on the scoreboard, and I can tell you now, Kalnor is also up there too. Local content creator. Also, a little bit of a storyline with him. He said he was going to quit Spellbreak unless Fire got fixed. And what happened the next patch? Fire gets a mana buff. So he is still competing out here. He's still alive as well. So I'm also interested to see how he does as well.
100%. Maybe we can just bounce around and see some more fights. Blue Flu, though, approaching onto an opponent. We are going to see exactly what he tries to do here. Blue Flu is a veteran player. He knows exactly what the routine is going to be. He's going to walk up slowly, hits him with a big boulder, 33 damage with a fireball on top as well. Takes a DF on top of himself, though. Unfortunately, great play from his opponent as Blue Flu takes the levitate, throws down the firewall, but nothing connects on that backside. Blue Flu's in trouble here, OSK. His belt is diminished. He's down to only his 94 remaining HP as he backs his way up he is definitely going to take the disengage here. This is not the fight that Blue Flu wants to take. He gets his Stone Shaper. He's going to reset. It's so easy to get your 40 armor back if you can just punch the ground like Hulk Smash. Not a big deal. He can just back himself up. Looks like Blue Flu will get away from this one for free.
Yeah, I can tell you now that white belt, just as it is in karate, doesn't mean much for you. You got to study a little more and get a better belt because white isn't going to do much for you. Now we're on to Hot and Herc, another new player I haven't thought of here recently here, but he's also running a different variation of 222. He's got Harmony, Fervor, and Recovery instead of Thirsty. A lot of people are switching over to Recovery after finding out its synergy with the Stone Shaper class and all that sustain. So but he only has a common stone, which is actually a little worrying. Hopefully he can loot a little bit better, still running that wind in the offhand. We'll see what he can do.
It does look like Recovery is seeing more and more play as we watch more and more of these games. You were right about that one, OSK. We are on to ARG Kururu with that double invis toxicologist build. This one has very high damage potential. It looks like Kuru is looking for those types of breaks he can get, has the dexterity for extra mobility with the runic fluency too. So ARG Kuru is going for just big mobility, big turns on fights. Maybe we can pop around here. This might be entering that mid-game lull state that we talk about all the time as 20 people rotate to the smaller circle. Looks like Kururu does not want to fight that first fight. Walks right past the opponent with invis, doesn't take the scrap, has his entire inventory ready to go. This is dangerous, having his back to the open side as well. Not a good position to be in, but he decides to take the rotation. Still has not been spotted out, trying to get the better positioning as he can. Maybe he should look for high ground, OSK. This does not look prime.
Yeah, and speaking of high ground, I can tell you with that the dexterity rune right there, he is able to actually get to high ground without sacrificing as much mana. So that maybe that is part of his strategy there. But I want to point out in the kill feed, Gigabyte, the controller player, taking out Syncade V2 already. This is going to be very interesting. Yeah, very, very interesting to see how this scoring turns out here. Syncade, we all know him. High amount of exiles, high amount of damage. He is taken out so early, and he's not going to be able to take advantage of that aggressive play style that we all know him for. Another kill coming in. Wolf taking out Kalnor as well. Wolf, another player that snuck up on us on the fourth qualifier in the past tournament in Element. So I'm wondering to see how he's going to place as well. So many good players out today, man.
I'm not going to lie to you, OSK. Wolf was going to be my pocket pick for first place. That was going to be it. And then I realized that I think Next is just going to take it through that consistency. But Wolf is definitely a very scary player, as you mentioned. And we're watching Black Labby now kind of just straddle on the top of this hill, keeping his high ground. This is a very prime position to be in for these competitive tournaments. We might want to rotate and look at some other players moving through the map, but that is definitely a prime strategy. Just pop yourself up, got the ice, you're confident in your aim. That is one way to rack up scorecards without putting yourself at a very high risk. And the opposite side of the strategy, we have RFJ Britt, who is slamming the ground in the corner, regenning himself. This is not a safe strategy, but this is one that you can very quickly rack up score by running through fight to fight. He does have the recovery with the Stone Shaper that we were just talking about. If he throws down his own lightning strike, gets onto the side of the stone, way to break that line of sight, but unfortunately the line of sight breaks him as he hits the wall, as he hits the tree and doesn't get the damage.
Oh, no.
Slams. RJ Britt is now in big trouble as he hits the ground again, 41 damage on the boulder, and only one of the attacks gets up nice and close to the conduit player, but it's not going to be enough. OSK, it's taking too much damage.
And I think I can tell you right now, I think we're looking at T-Foul right here. I recognize the skin, I recognize the play style, but I think T-Foul is going to say, I used the stone to destroy the stone because it is getting so close to this man.
Oh,
it's
it was
Chris.
very crisp. That was a good guess, but both players looks like they've kind of been picking up on each other's movement from scrimming so much together. Chris getting a nice kill. As you said, that was a very, very clean way to pick apart a Stone Shaper. Stone Shapers can present a lot of problems when you get into those close quarters combat situations. Very crisp, staying calm as ever, finishing the kill, keeping his blood pressure low as he walks into the storm, gets the pots without nothing to worry about. Very Crisp is looking like in a good position to take some wins here. 2 kills already as we bounce around to more fights. Merlin the Wizard.
Oh boy.
Always nice to have Merlin out in these competitive events. This gets me
The boy
hot.
is out. The boy is out here. Him and his literal wizard hat, by the way. He's going to be taking Pyromancer and Frost, running that fire and ice setup with a little bit of extra movement packed into his build as well. I don't think I've seen Merlin turn up for any Element competitive events.
This might be Merlin's first showing out. He does love the hollow skin. I know that for a fact, but he's in trouble here as he gets pushed by Very Crisp again. Yep. His third kill if he can get it. Merlin the Wizard had low armor going into this fight, and that's going to be not enough. Very Crisp gets his third kill. What a beautiful start to the tournament from Very Crisp. Fake Dog also getting the kill onto Gigabyte, which is a huge kill for Lobby in terms of consequences. 15 people left in this Becker Breaker Finals Game 1, and it is hotter than I could have ever imagined in here, as people are just dropping left and right. Very crisp, impressing me to start for sure.
Yeah, he's breaking the ground and breaking the competition as well in this Becker Breaker challenge, man. He's up to 3 exiles already. I can imagine that he has a lot of damage, given that there's a lot of Stone Shapers, lots of damage to inflict. So that's going to work really well for his scoring here.
And
With
remember that Very
Scavenger,
Crisp picked a
yeah.
fight earlier, fought the entire fight, but backed out. So that kill score does not truly reflect his damage score. He technically almost has 4 kills of damage. He fought somebody down to the ropes and they left. So Crisp's scorecard is going to be astoundingly high. Maybe we can pop around and see some more perspectives. There's 14 people left. Circle's still a little bit big as we get down to it, but the fights will break out very soon. As we are on to T-Foul. They have the same skin, OSK. You called it. They have the same skin. Chris and T-Foul rocking the same beautiful braided skin. That is one of my favorites in the game. I can't lie to you. As we get through here.
Honestly, in terms of a starter skin, it's probably one of the cuter ones, I have to admit. It's the one that I personally chose, and it looks like it's a very popular choice indeed.
Hold up here. We got the Darkbreakers just took 2 kills in a row in the kill feed with the Wind Gauntlet, getting a drop onto Captain Zarin and another player. That is massive for the Darkbreakers, especially late in the game. You do not see that in the last 15. He must have really truly fought off 2 players. As we got Tusk, what a legend in the Spellbreak community, coming through for today's event. I'm excited to say the least to see what he's got going here as he takes the double jump on the bounce. Nice movement control there. Doesn't get the second usage of his cloud, throws up the Toxic Slap, but it doesn't connect, so the corrosion will not stick. But Tusk still rotating. His gauntlets are looking okay. Nothing amazing, but nothing too horrible. Just a balanced kind of build that Tusk is rocking. As he throws another cloud, takes the mobility, and gets his way up around this hill.
Yeah, completely unrelated, but I want to say that I hope the damage was worth it for Chris, because he just died to Next.
Oh.
And Next is your prediction, my boy. Who do you favorite more?
I love Chris as one of my friends, but I gotta say Next is gonna take this place #1 as Skriva takes down Black Labby as well. A lot of toxic kills coming in. We expected that. These players are so deadly with that toxic aim getting close, as we see Tusk, a perfect example of such play. He's got the double dash as he gets jumped on, throws down the 41, connects with the 19 as well. Throws down his cloud, but he doesn't get the turn that he wanted. He got stuck on the side of the crate, which will completely blow his momentum, as now he's getting jumped on from 2 angles. This is how intense these tournaments get, OSK. You see one small movement mistake and Next will finish you. Somebody will get you down. You have to play impeccably in those situations. Next is full HP with 2 kills, 10 people left, throwing down Toxic, hitting everything he can. Corrosion coming down, all legendary items. I am very happy with my prediction as it stands, because Next is looking beautiful as we get into this, OSK.
Yeah, and I certainly would be. We were watching Tusk's viewpoint from right there. He had 92 health, and then he had immediately 0, because Next is using full advantage of that outbreak like he's trying to right now. He's going to Shadow Step, try to hit another one. Looks like he didn't hit that one, but the next one, I bet you he will connect. It is such a strong skill. Such a strong skill and a lot of damage, man. And along with Frost, he's going to be packing some heat.
100%. It was a tough take to try to turn that fight, but he did whip out the Ice Sorcery very quickly after missing that shot to make sure that his risk was kind of mitigated in that engagement. This is awkward. We're just seeing these 2 players fight repeatedly in this one corner of the edge. The circle's going to close. We're down to 10 people. OSK, this might not be prime for either players. You know how rough it is to get chunked out before the final circle actually begins, as Next is just forced to continue fighting this. Throws the ice shot, but it does not land. This is not good situation for Next, especially somebody like Next who can assassinate an entire end circle given the right circumstances. This is not what he's looking for.
No, definitely not. This terrain for a toxicologist in particular is very awkward to play around. You ideally want to keep that higher ground, but if you have someone consistently changing levels on you, it's not going to be very useful to try to hit your outbreak bursts, unless they're just not moving well. Which
we're on to the Darkbreak.
Darkbreakers, I have been seeing this man pop off in so many tournaments. He has improved so much from the first time that I got to play with him personally. He has 5 exiles, and I bet you a whole lot more damage. He's actually one of the most improved people that I've seen in these tournaments, and I actually have some very high hopes for him in place of T-Foul as my pocket pick.
Perfect. Well, I agree with you. The Darkbreakers improvement train has been steadily chugging away 5 kills in game 1. That is insane. T-Foul does not have a kill to his own name, but we're down to 8 people. And you know those placement points can be pretty crucial. This is the game 1, so just to finish a top 5, even if you don't get a massive exile pool, is a good start to the tournament nonetheless. It's better than getting eliminated. T-Foul down here as we see the movement kind of take off, gets around the side of the wall, breaks a little bit of the line of sight, Cloud floating in the air. T-Foul just posting up, does not want to move from this position. This is a solid spot to be in. If only he had a Frost Gauntlet that may be able to help him with his position, but nonetheless, this is still what he's going to do, try to rock out this area with all of that area control he has on that Toxicologist with the Pyro offhand. We know that, but it's not enough as he gets jumped on, hit for a 78. He's down to actually 1 HP and
Literally
a dream.
Literally one. He has the 1 pot to his name right here. Hopefully he can find some more on the ground, but it doesn't look like there's any to be found right here. Dude, he is in some real trouble right here. He needs to get out of that fight, hide behind a castle wall, turn invisible, but it's too late for him. Skriba is going to take that instead.
Hey, that was a very nice kill by Skriba too. I hope everyone noticed that one was mid-air. Skriba turned around, saw him come out of invis, and hit him with a whack in the head to get his 5th kill. Skriba is popping off out here, just like the Darkbreakers. As we get down to the top final 3 players, this is Next, Skriba, and one more player competing as Next jumps onto Skriba but misses the Outbreak slap and takes damage in return, but Next is just so healthy. He's ready to fight this nonetheless. Posts around the side, but takes another big Outbreak. Skriba is playing so aggressive into this fight. Next uses his Cloud twice, which is a tactic we see all the time with Toxicologists to refresh that invis. It is so crucial to do something like that as we get to the Darkbreakers, who's also in this final 3, full HP, stacked up, ready to go, turns the corner but misses the slam just barely, fights breaking out all over the place. This is not a good fight for a Stone Shaper. This last circle is unopportune for Darkbreakers.
Yeah, but I can tell you now that these castle structures, while they are in the zone right now, they're going to be zoned out actually more quickly than you would think. So as long as he plays the long game and he lets that zone close in, if there's enough time for him, oh my god, it's so close. But Next is going to take it. The superior mechanics, it looks like, takes game 1. Plenty of exiles, plenty of damage as well.
Well, it seems to me that my prediction is going good so far. Next picking up a nice win from game 1. You love to see that. But all around, that was an amazing game. I was very impressed with Skriba and the Darkbreakers coming out and just showing out in that first game of the Becker Breaker Finals. OSK, what other comments do you have about that game? Maybe about that end circle, that awkward kind of position with those towers for the Stone Shaper.
Man, I can tell you now that Stone Shaper, if that fight lasts just a little bit longer, I bet you see those that high ground close out and get into that more flat land. That way Stone Shaper can really shine. It looks like Darkbreakers just got zoned out by the amount of time that was left in that fight. Toxicologist is able to make use of very short amount of time to get that outbreak, slap off, and land a lot of burst damage. So unfortunate for Darkbreakers, but he does get a nice placement, lots of exiles, lots of damage. He's gonna look very good on these placings for sure.
100%. And just an update for anybody who likes to keep track of the classes that are being played, because I know that's a big interest from the community. We saw a lot of Toxicologist. We saw a lot of the usual classes like Stone Shaper. I was expecting to see a bit more Tempest after the wind buffs, but it looks like people are sticking to area control classes and burst damage. Those are the sticky points that you see in all of these competitive events. These players have gotten so practiced with that Toxicologist that it is just too hard to drop the class at this point. And again, OSK, you were talking a little bit about the recovery and the fact that we're seeing more and more recovery. Maybe that is a Stone Shaper thing, or maybe that's a bigger idea within the game. What do you think between recovery and Thirsty?
It's a little bit of a trade-off here. So Thirsty, it's very useful when you can break line of sight and get out of a fight for a few seconds. What we're seeing from players is kind of a more aggressive play style. Recovery is allowing them to take more advantage of that. Recovery gives you pretty much an instant benefit, whereas Thirsty, you have to kind of separate yourself out, get a little bit of time to yourself, and then hop back in. So this is allowing for more of an immediate benefit that they can more quickly take care of, especially Stone Shapers who already have that sustain.
Right.
So that's really what we're seeing there.
Yeah, you're right about that one. And another quick note that we can run through here is some players that maybe didn't place as high as we were expecting in that game 1, but people to keep an eye out for. The number 1 is Syncade, in my opinion. This guy destroys lobbies. He feasts on lobbies. Unfortunately, game 1 did not go how he wanted. He picked up an early exile, but got knocked out pretty early as well. I'm expecting Syncade to turn it around. I know that man doesn't feel pressure. He's going to go off in this game too. That's my early prediction. Still sticking with Next as my number 1, but Sincade, I got some high hopes for him coming out into game 2.
Yeah, me and you both. It was a little bit sad to see him go out so early, but I think that just speaks to the amount of talent that we have here in this Becker Breaker Challenge. 30 of the best players in the world, as proven by those qualifiers. They're going to be so eager to get their name out here and get so many exiles. And looks like Sincade was one of the first victims of that as a veteran. So we're going to see
100%.
how the second game goes.
And remember, so as OSK mentioned, we did have qualifiers leading into this. So these players are already warmed up. Sometimes in these events, they have to wake up and jump into these games. But no, everybody here has already put hours in today. So everybody's mechanics are already sharp as we come into it. Maybe that is why we see some of these kind of upsets that we weren't expecting in game 1. Maybe it's a result of having this many talented players playing for such a high reward pool. Once again, Hollow Skin is on the line for that first place. So that's a big deal, OSK. And maybe we're seeing the results of that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And one thing I want to point out as well, of course, you see all the familiar veteran names. There's so many new names out here as well. And they're going to be just laying down the hammer saying, "Hey, I'm new, but I can still break as well as you can, veterans." And they have the Stone Shaper class, they have the Toxicologist class to be able to do that. Now that damage is arguably pretty high now in 2.1.2. Very, very high amounts of damage.
I agree. And speaking of players that are newer, not newer to the game, but newer to the competitive side of it, I want to give a quick shout out to Kawaxi. I watched him play in these previous qualifiers for Element. He is a very good player, started out very recently. Don't know if there's a lot of hype going on around him, but I'm going to start the hype because I'm expecting him to keep playing well. I'm looking at RGB, Kawaxi, and the Dark Breakers, as we saw last game, has been improving rapidly on that Stone Shaper. He was popping off, playing aggressive, and sometimes that's the way to go. You can throw some of the veteran players through a loop by just diving at them with that old W key, the tried and true W key strategy. It looks like it was going off today for the Dark Breaker, so I can't wait to see what else we got in store for us. Again, do you have any early predictions other than T-Foul, your favorite player, to take this next game?
Man, honestly, I'm going to be looking at Wolf. Wolf is a nice little pocket pick that I'm looking at. Of course, Dark Breakers was my first pocket pick, but if I had to pick a second, I would think Wolf. Just because he's been really consistent on the fourth qualifier that we saw. He did reasonably well in the elite tournament once everyone really came out. So don't sleep on him. He's very good, very mechanically sound, and he knows how to play that final zone as long as he can make it there. So that's who I'm going to pick. Wolf with 2 Fs.
That is a solid prediction. And it's an interesting one as well, because we did talk briefly about how there was a patch before this. A couple days ago, there was some balance changes to the game. Ice Gauntlet received a little bit of a nerf, and Wolf is known throughout this community for his ice play, but he is fully adapted already, showing off on these new classes like Toxicologist that he's not as well known for. Still popping off. There's all sorts of situations like that we've seen today, OSK. As you mentioned with Kalnor, the fire changes make him a little bit more deadly with that extra mana he's got. Tempest may be something we start seeing out of here today as Wind Gauntlet mobility has gotten better. Wind Gauntlet damage has decreased as well, which gives Pyro an even bigger bounce up. As the wind can no longer block your fire shots, you can get right up in somebody's face and deal the big damage.
Yeah, for sure. That's another name. I'm glad you mentioned Kalnor because he's my boy. He got some buffs that he majorly needed. He was tired of the wind. He was tired of the cost of fire, and now he has everything he needs to succeed. He actually got exiled in the middle of that mid-game lull, but I would expect him to place just a little bit higher. Now that we're getting into game 2, he's already got the wiggles out. He's warmed up, as you said. Most players are, but I think it's just going to take him a game or two to really shine right here.
And if we're talking about pyromancers, we got to obligatory mention Merlin the Wizard. First person to get a triumph. First person to show us what it looks like to juggle those fireballs on that triumph screen. That is another top pyro player that is going to benefit greatly from these buffs. Again, I'm excited to see how these classes shake up. For the most part, out of game 1, it seems like it's a pretty standard set that we've seen in previous patches and tournaments. Stone Shaper may be making a little bit more of a potent appearance, but that has always been sort of a fixture. Some players are known for the Stone Shaper and others are not. It's one of those classes, at least Stone Shaper in my opinion, is one that you have to have a lot of hours on it to do very well in these competitive environments. But it is an easy class to pick up, but to take it into a scrim or a tournament and do well on Stone Shaper, it's going to take hours of practice.
Yeah, it's real easy to do well on it once you see all these newer players coming in. They don't exactly know how to play around all the different gauntlets of the game, but we are seeing a few people. This might feed into this actually. We're seeing a lot of dexterity. And what that does is it decreases the amount of mana you need to successfully levitate up a little bit higher. So I think a lot of players are using that to counter the Stone Shaper class, now that you mention it. Along with
That's a
Runic
very
Fluency.
interesting point.
Yeah, along with Runic Fluency, there's also an extra rune charge that you have to think about too. And I think people are realizing the power of the Stone Shaper class. Maybe those who aren't quite used to countering it, they're going to have their chance now that we have a talent that can actually be properly used for it.
100%. And Stone Shapers, you always get into that situation. We kind of saw it briefly at the end there before we jump into quickly here, but you sometimes when you're fighting a Stone Shaper, you get confident, you get them low, but then they just turn the entire fight on you with the help of that recovery, with the help of that iron, with the help of that shield boost. So as you said, you have to learn how to play around everything that's available in this game, Stone Shaper being one of the most potent.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, we are going to get right into game 2 right here. Just about to drop in and see what these players have in store for game number 2. We're expecting some big names and expecting some big plays. Here we go, right into it.
Let's go. Again, my money's on next for this game, but we got tons of predictions coming through here.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, and it looks like we'll just be hopping in just in one moment, boys. Just one moment. We're
Hopping
almost
over
there.
to show you all that beautiful gameplay. Onto 2D Peng, it looks like we're seeing as we slide over.
There we are, there we are. The beautiful
Welcome.
Toxicologist skin running Scavenger in place of Fervor here. He's going to be looking to get a lot of solo exiles over here. He's going to be looking to lay down the damage, of course, and get that extra healing now that he's read up and has 1 point already into the talent. We're going to see how well he can do here. 2D Ping, not a name I'm familiar with, but maybe one of the newer ones that we have.
Coming through, 2D Peng is a tournament participant. I know that for a fact, so I'm excited to see exactly what he can whip out here. Again, we're on to Tusk, a legend in the community. We saw him play through last game, got stuck up against the wall in an unfortunate situation, but to start this game off, Tusk is killing it. He's got 2 epic gauntlets and the epic teleport already off the bat. Just needs a slight item improvement to really bring himself up to speed, but it's looking good for him so far as we see Syncade V2 getting a kill into RFJ Brit very quickly, and tons of kills coming down so early. 25 people down here as we see Tusk just rotate through to Halcyon Village and try to secure a little bit more loot.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And one thing to note as well in 2.1.2, teleport was actually had a very, very effective bug fix. So before you would have this weird bug where you try to teleport somewhere, but oops, your target is invalid and I'm going to take a rune charge from you. But now that they have fixed that, you're going to see a lot more usage out of it, even if it's just an early game crutch that people are going to rely on until they get something better. It is something to take into account because you can easily reposition and land off a nice frost shot if someone's not paying attention.
Yeah, something that was underrated about that last patch was the amount of bug fixes. You know, oftentimes the community brushes over bug fixes and looks at balance changes, but there was a lot of very effective bug changes. Spectator mode got fixed. It's all looking beautiful and crisp now. Everything is looking great. So shout out to Proletariat for the work that has been done as we get on to HB Muffin, another player that I'm excited to see.
6 pages of bug fixes, man. Of course, Muffin, great player, but those bug fixes are really going to come into play for really everybody in this tournament right here. Can you imagine 6 players of bug fixes? And I think that there were 10 bugs on each page. That's
Writing
crazy.
6 pages of an awful research paper takes me a week and a half. I can't imagine the work that went into 6 pages of pure bug fixes. So shout out to the dev team as we get out here. Blue Flu coming through again, got the common boots. It looks like every game Blue Flu struggles to find the boots. All of that just comes down to a little bit of luck, but Blue Flu is not getting it. He does have some good item sets other than that on the Stone Shaper once again. So those things that we were talking about, OSK, about damage and playing around these Stone Shapers is going to be something that people are going to have to watch out for when they pick a fight with Blue Flu. Rocking the classic Marla skin, maybe we can bounce around here. This looks like the mid-game lull has started much earlier than game 1. It does seem like this is the trend that we see OSK all the time. People get a little bit nervous about how the scores are lining up and start playing a bit more safe. As you see Next quickly in the top corner, getting a kill in the kill feed. So he's already popping up too. 24 people left in the Becker Breaker Challenge finals.
For sure, and before it disappeared very quickly right there, I also saw the Dark Breakers get a nice little exile right there too. Now his name is not the Dark Breakers, it's T Dark B. So for those of you watching the tournament who don't know who the Dark Breakers is, just look out for T Dark B. That is the name that I have as my pocket pick right here, and he is already showing himself with the 1 exile to count for this game number 2.
100%. So Hottenherk, it looks like what we saw from him last game, OSK, where we saw the Wind Gauntlet on with the Stone Shaper. I thought that was maybe just a necessity thing, but it looks like that really is the build that Hottenherk is running all day here. Got the Wind again, got the Stone again. It's very interesting to see these players attack the game from different angles. Hottenherk has that fervor, has the recovery that we talked about with the Stone Shaper combination. He's just going to fly his way in to this next circle. 24 people still. This is a huge lobby in a circle that's rapidly shrinking. We're going to see some big fights. I'm predicting a major battle going down here.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And speaking of major battles, I have a major structure right in front of Captain Zyron right here. Fort Halcyon. It's most known for the amount of fights that take place right here. It looks like he has one right behind him. Actually, in the fort, looks like my prediction was correct. People are already getting off to an amazing start. I would look at that. Oh no, Kalnor! He killed himself! No! Spellbreak community! Come on, Kalnor, no!
Kellner
Oh,
goes
boy.
down to his own fireball. It looks Blonish also takes a kill onto Wolf, so that's two big players gone. Captain Zarin gets jumped from the backside, turns around, tries to land the fireballs, but neither one of them is going to hit. Captain Zarin is in a desperate position here to try to get some damage down and get some area control, but he is just at the mercy of the opponent at the high ground. This is the big problem with being on that low side, is that you have to fight your way through two obstacles to get yourself back into line of sight. Captain Zarin deciding to just concede and wait for his opponent to come to him standing behind that line of sight. He is going to get rushed up on. Captain Zarin turns the corner slightly, has his Toxicologist, all cooldowns ready. He sees his opponent crouching, misses the fireball. That is a crucial shot that you have to hit in those situations right there, and that is just brutal that he couldn't land it. Captain Zarin missing both of those as well. The aim is not looking 100% on par as both of those missed. The ice shot onto Captain Zarin goes right below his foot. He's going to dodge the damage, luckily enough, as he takes his high ground. Smart play to get his positioning. Rounds off the corner. This is exactly what we were talking about as the mid-game lull ends and 22 people fight in this massive circle going forward. Captain Zarin just going to break completely away. Not exactly sure what the point of this one is. Maybe he's trying to work his way around to another side where there's no fighting. What he doesn't realize is that there's going to be fighting on all sides of this circle. There's 22 people left in a tier 2. This is going to go down either way he wants it. This is not what you should be doing, wasting your HP in the storm. Both players bouncing through here. This is going to be crazy. Maybe we can pop over and see exactly what's going on inside of the circle as we get onto Black Labby.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Now, one thing I want to comment on that little strat that that Captain Zyron was taking advantage of right there. The zone as it is right now, very hard to see through. So with it only taking 1 damage, that's actually not the worst play that you could make right there. He knows that there's a fight going on. He knows that 2 players, you know how they tunnel vision, where they will try to close out a kill as quickly as possible. With him going outside of the zone right there, and with it being so hard to see players on the other side, he might have actually just popped into that 200 IQ range that maybe I don't quite understand, maybe a lot of us don't understand.
Right.
But he is actually able to make use of that concealment and maybe reposition. Now, we'll see if that pays off for him later on in this game, but for right now, I think it's going to serve him well as long as the zone doesn't tick too much damage.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't get caught out in that zone as well, he should be good to go. T-Fel takes out Merlin the Wizard. Next takes out T-Fel, and Muffin goes down to Zarin. That is a string of 3 massive kills that you see up in that kill feed as Syncade V2, talented player, works his way around the side, gets his break, sees his opponent, but does not actually take the shot, wants to quickly position himself. Interesting to see Syncade rocking that teleport. Not often do I see Syncade with that and not the dash room, but it looks like maybe he's changing it up today as he tries to take the shot, but misses on the front side, misses both and takes a massive Stone Shaper slam. This is not where you want to be fighting a Stone Shaper on this weird ledge, as he's going to take another shot to the back. Again, this is not what you need to do. The teleport doesn't work, but it doesn't actually get the invalid target, so he's still able to get his charge off. Syncade getting his way out. Maybe the teleport really was more useful than I expected as he aims his shot. He tries to get just the slightest little peek over that hill, or maybe even just get vision. But it's not going to be enough. Syncade doesn't get eyes, throws out a small teleport and repositions, gets a nice corrosion stick through the side, and another nice movement burst right there. Syncade gets a peek and a hit.
Nice!
56 from deep. Tom Brady throwing it far, getting a crack on him. Syncade can now kind of move his way up and reposition. What a shot! I should have been expecting that. We know what Syncade does is he takes a shot in return, but does get the corrosion. People don't realize how crucial corrosion is. You can hit them and see their player card as it moves slightly through the square. He's going to be able to chase this down like lunch. Syncade wants to eat. He's getting down there. He knows his opponent is potting, so he's checking all the little nooks, crannies, and corners, trying to get that last bit of burst, but it looks like he's not going to get it, OSK.
I don't know about that, man. It looks like he's able to see him in the distance right there, but that is such that's such a distance to close. Thankfully, he has teleport to kind of help him with that. But I want to say, just real quick, I'm glad that one bug wasn't fixed, and that is the big bow energy. It's so funny to see it.
Right on. Syncade showing off that big bow energy reel. Pops up, throws his teleport nicely. I think he was trying to get on the high ground, but he just barely missed. Unfortunate that he's going to take a shot because of that small error. He was trying to get himself teleported onto the ledge, but he teleports onto the ground and takes a 45 to the face from that deadly Stone Shaper. Looks like Syncade is going to take his chance to just fully reposition here, OSK. I mean, I can't be mad at that. He got some very good damage down, which will translate directly to his scorecard. Maybe he just doesn't want to risk it. Syncade knows that game one didn't go his way, so he's trying to just position himself to play a high placement game for game two. As we see Elpadog goes down to my guy Quoxy, and Gigabyte gets a kill into Tragedy Killer. Two PS4 players duking it out with Gigabyte taking the kill himself. This one's coming down to it as we got 15 people left, and we're watching Syncade continue to maneuver through here. There's multiple people everywhere. This is such a facet of Syncade's game that I see all the time. He plays within a circle of 3 people with absolutely no pressure on him. It looks like he's just chilling as he walks through 3 different fights, throws down 2 frost shots and an explosion too. Syncade playing very well here.
Dude, he is just going one breaker to another and 2 amazing frost. Next 3. Wait, that's a toxic, but oh my goodness, 1, 2, 3 for the Exile. That's already 3 on his record right there.
I have no words for that one. The perspective that we got of that too was Syncade just trying to pot, man. He's just trying to peek his head up and he takes 2 shots to the dome and gets finished off with a quick slap. Next just made that look like easy work right there, picking up a kill on one of the best Spellbreak players in the game. Next showing why he is my prediction. With 3 kills already in this game, 12 people left, big bow energy strapped up. Next just barely misses the shot. This is such an amazing position for Next to be in. I can't stress that enough. This is exactly where he wants to be as he jumps onto Chris and misses the slap. It's going to be crucial. Chris is playing this game so well as he throws on the firewall and returns damage with the lightning. Nice play by Chris to keep himself completely composed and centered, but he turns around and Next is just hunting.
What is he doing? What is he doing there? I did not. That actually kind of scared me a little bit.
No, Next hits 2 back-to-backs, but the second one actually does not land. I was mistaken. That might have taken the kill there. Like you said, OSK, Chris was resetting with nothing to drink, no pots to drink. It just looked like a bit of a misplay as Next works his way up. I can't blame him, though. It's very hard to keep yourself consistently perfect as you play all of these fights back-to-back. As we say that, Next gets his way up to the front side, just positioning himself and blocking this poor player from coming into the zone. Next is just playing gatekeeper here as he continues to throw down damage, gets 2 slaps off. Look at this play. He is strafing the side of this cliff and not taking a single tick of storm damage as he keeps his left shoulder in the storm and just deals out the damage. OSK, this is so insane to watch.
Yeah, it looks like Chris is taking a nice little page from Zyron's book right here. The only difference is that this... Well, that strategy takes a lot more damage than it did for Zyron, but Next is going to take out Chris for the 2nd time in a row. We'll see how the streak goes, but Next so far showing himself to be very, very competent and very, very hungry for that Hollow skin.
I wouldn't even say hungry,
OSK.
Next is starving right now. He's absolutely famished as he continues to tear through this lobby, hitting shot after shot. One thing that we have to always stress is that he might not have gotten the kill, but hitting a 57 fadeaway ice shot is going to do so much for your scorecard. Next is full HP as he just continues to ragdoll this entire lobby.
There's another.
A kill onto Millsy42. Next drinks a quick potion, takes a quick sip of that iced tea, and turns his corner, trying to finish off more kills. That is 5 for Next. Remember that he did win game 1 as well, so Next is showing you all why he's out here known as a top player. Really beautiful use of the Toxic Cloud to just break line of sight. Some people look over how crucial that can be in these endgame situations. Something to note, OSK, is that Next just switched out the Frost for the Fire in this circle situation. Maybe he looked at the way the final circle was building up and he decided this is a fire game. He does hit those too.
He actually hits that, man. I can tell you, Next does not care about Frost Nerfs right here. He is taking advantage of this of the bigger space allowed in the mid game right here. It's actually a very smart play to go ahead and switch off to a legendary fire, no less, now that there's less space and Frost takes so much longer to charge up for the big damage. So this is actually a very smart play. He's going to be putting it to great use. You can already tell he's getting lots of damage on that fire gauntlet, and he is going to get more and more as there are 3 targets for him to take advantage of. One is coming up right here. see if he can secure it instead of the other guy.
I gotta say, I love this final.
Oh, he hits that! He hits that!
Okay.
hits
He
that.
gets a nice snipe onto Hot and Hurt. Nexus just absolutely keeps the destruction coming. 6 kills. I can't believe what I'm watching here. Next, just literally micromanaging every movement, making sure he takes as little AoE damage as possible. So Rin secures the kill onto Blue Flu. Is now we have Next.
He
Oh my
wins
lord.
game 2.
Oh my
7
lord.
exiles to his name and a lot more damage. My goodness.
My god.
My goodness. This man is out for blood. He is defending his EU territory. No one is better on EU than Next, and he is proving it today. 7 exiles for game number 2. My goodness. He is
I'm
quite a margin.
terrified of what I'm watching out here. This is e-bullying. I am watching cyberbullying take place
Big
live
bully.
on the HoloLens.
The big bully.
Next, just blowing these people up left and right. And the beautiful part of that is we got to watch his entire perspective from that final fight from 10 players to 1 as Next just filters his way through that entire lobby. I can't believe that, OSK. Any other comments you want to make? It seems like we have nothing left to talk about other than Next just destroying right there. I want to mention one more time how insane it was to watch him switch from the Frost to the Fire, making that decision on the fly and then saying, I'm good enough with this fire gauntlet to airshot 9 people and just taking kill after kill. Next, it's just something else out here, OSK.
Yeah, for sure. He's saying it doesn't matter what gauntlet I have. You can give me a toxic. You can give me a frost. You can give me a fire. It does not matter. This man is going to land damage on you and he will exile you for the extra points. He does not care. He is just going for it, man. He wins 2 games in a row.
We got to quickly pull up these scores after this game 2 to show you guys a quick update on where we are at so you can see exactly what's going on in these scorecards. Next, obviously in first place, but we're going to pull it over here. This is what you see here from game 1. Next, picking up the total exiles, Darkbreaker second place. This was actually just game 1. It hasn't tallied with game 2 yet, but you can expect Next to still stay at that number 1 place. The only changes you might see is Syncade bumping himself up into that top 15 as we get into these other games. But nonetheless, this was just a crazy game 2. I want to say that final circle was one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite things about Spellbreak is that these fights and the map has these different points of variance where you get this fight where you're in a valley. There's a fracture in the middle of this final circle. You make a mistake, you run out of mana, and you're embarrassed live on the internet. So it's a tough place to fight, man. But it's crazy. And we're going to quickly, we have a little bit of an interview coming for you guys. Some of the Element staff has answered some great questions about the game and about the competitive scene. We're going to roll that one over to you guys and get back to game 3 shortly. Thank you very much for sticking with us.
Yeah, but right before we jump in there, I just want to say you saw the results there from game number 1. Next, just won game number 2 with even more exiles. So I want you to think about that, please. How far ahead is he going to be? He's already 13 points ahead of the Darkbreakers right there, as we could see on our little graphic right there. But he is now even further ahead.
It feels like I need to talk to someone about what I just watched in that game 2, OSK. That was unbelievable.
You can talk to me all you want about it. All I got to say about it is that Nex is clearly the best on EU. I mean, there's no argument about it now. I mean, who is going to beat him? Who is going to rise up and beat this man? He hasn't died yet. He still hasn't died yet. It's been 2 games of competitive play. Like, plays.
And you did mention it briefly. You mentioned it briefly about how neither of us have ever seen Next not perform in the top 5 in any EU games. He is so unbelievably consistent. But the real challenge is something you're kind of hinting at, moving over to NA for the last 3 games. We have one more game on EU, and then the last 3 will be on NA. So the challenge for Next is going to be keeping people like Tfal off, just pushing these people away, making sure that he can maintain that number 1 spot and keep his scorecard high enough as he deals with some of these issues that you get when you switch servers, some of these things that some of the players were dealing with fighting against Next. Now it's going to be on his side to deal with them.
I'll tell you what, you bring up a very good point. Very good point. Tfal from a previous tournament, we'll go back to the Element Elite tournament. Tfal kind of slept a little bit during the EU side, but once the NA side brought up, he immediately rose up in the ranks and actually took first, which surprised me personally. So that is a very good point that you bring up right here. But we're about to get into this nice little graphic right here of game 2, what the score looks like. we're gonna get to that here pretty shortly. But from what I can see, as it's being finalized right here, next is sitting very pretty, man. Like,
Yeah, next is sitting
oh
very
my
pretty.
goodness.
Another name I want to mention that's up there is Skriba. He's a veteran player. His mechanics are very clean, as you guys saw out there, and he's taking his way up, climbing up the scorecard. It is definitely a switch to move over to that NA server. Players that are in the top three, both Next and Skriba, are both EU-based players, so they are going to have to deal with the switch. And surprisingly enough, Darkbreakers is actually on NA, and he's in third place after going hard in these EU games. That is such a great position to be in for a player on the NA server, coming over across the river onto EU and just dropping off some nice kills there. Good to
It
see.
it really is. It really is. It really is. Now, we're still waiting to get the finalized results and the confirmation. But one thing I want to bring out some spoilers for you before we actually show it on screen is look at the margin between first and second place. Like you guys viewing the stream are going to see this here pretty shortly. Me and Plays kind of have a sneak peek as it's getting finalized. We're not sure if these are the final numbers quite yet, but my goodness, man! From what if these are correct, from what I can see, first place and second place, dude, that's such a large gap. It's bigger than the fracture. Like, honestly.
Yeah, it looks like it's actually a over 1,000 score difference. So the point that we were making earlier about having to defend your first place spot as you move over to a higher latency on NA, looks like he's in a good position to do that with 13 exiles compared to the second most in the tournament, which is 6. So that right there tells you enough. It's just going to pull the
Yeah,
graphic
for
really
sure.
quickly over here as we see, and you guys can all see what we've been looking at secretly. You can see this top 15, how it's shaping up. This is so far a cumulative score from game 1 and game
Mm.
2. Gives you a little update on where we're at, what's going on. And you can see here. Any surprises, OSK, that you see on this board?
I'm surprised now. Now he did pretty well in qualifier 2. One name that I did not expect to be this high up is Gigabyte. Now I know a little bit contentious right here. He is playing with a controller, which, as we know, has a little bit of aim assist going on for it. But I'm surprised that, like, amongst all the other players playing right here, you have so many hot names. You have Tfal, you have Muffin, you have Sincade, you have Next, Skriba, Darkbreakers. Despite all these big names, he has managed to bring himself up to fourth place with over 2,000 damage and over 380 score. Now, the exiles are a little bit on the low side. I would like him to close out a little bit more kills, um, much as Nex has done. I mean, Nex has 13. No one's close to him. He has over 200 points from the next person up, and everyone's kind of hovering around that high 300 range. And the damage, Gigabyte is the next highest up to him in terms of damage. So I'm not sure if Gigabyte is EU or NA. I don't have that knowledge. Maybe you do. I don't. But if he's an NA player, that is someone to be looking at.
Yeah, 100%. It looks as well like when you were talking about the high 300s, it looks like the point of contention that's going to shape up for the second, third, and fourth place for these next games is going to be around that 300 to 310, 390 to 310 scorecard point, where that is where it's really going to determine what we get to in the end of this. Remember that first place gets the holo and the master pack, but second place still takes a master pack. Third place gets a battle mage pack. Fourth place gets a mage pack. So everybody wins over here. Everybody eats, but it's who's going to get those top 4 spots and take home some prizes. So now we're going to quickly get you over to that Element interview. This is some of the staff over on that Element community who are going to show you and answer some questions. Thank you very much for sticking with us. We're going to get game 3 right after this.
My name is Dan Isaac, and online I go by Funderson.
My name is Elijah, and I'm better known as Zen860 in the community.
I am from Tel Aviv, Israel.
I'm from Connecticut, but I really moved all over the East Coast my entire life. You see 860 in my name, Zen860. That's the Connecticut area code, and I kind of just rep that because that's where all of my real friends were at. That's where my best memories are.
So in Element, I do a lot of the tournament operation stuff. I help out Zen with everything he needs in terms of setting up channels, signups, confirmations. I also like making spreadsheets, so all the scoring stuff, all the formulas, all the functions, and all the beautiful spreadsheets we use for the scoring. That's partially my doing, and Chris is a guy that helps me out with that as well.
My role in Element is overall management. I'm the owner of it. So I find the staff and I make sure everyone is kind of doing what they're supposed to do, fulfilling their roles. I do tournament operations, so I make sure all that runs smoothly. I make the formats and stuff. And I also host scrims and do some moderation.
Oh god, Spellbreak, I started playing December 2018, like the end of December 2018. I've been like on and off since then, but mostly on.
I've been playing Spellbreak since November in 2018, around patch 15. It's been a while.
The way it's like open space, movement-based combat with only projectiles, it's something like I haven't seen in any other games. Like the closest game would probably be Quake, but it's kind of like a different version, a more magical version of Quake, if you will.
So, as corny as it sounds, my favorite aspect of Spellbreak is easily the community. It's really what makes the game special for me. Like, I remember when I first started playing, I'd just join up and talk to the people in the Proletariat Discord and make friends with common interests. And like Spellbreak was there for me at a time when I really needed it, you know? I made a guild, I had friends, and we just wanted to be the best. Like, there were legends to aspire to surpass one day, and like I remember getting into the competitive community, and like I was so bad at the game, but like I placed high and everyone DM'd me and made me feel like special, you know? So easily the community.
It's the uniqueness of the combat, I think. That's what it has that other things don't, and that's what does it for me, I think.
So to be honest, the only BRs that I've played are Spellbreak, Fortnite, and Minecraft Hunger Games. So my perspective on that is kind of limited. But what I can say stands out about Spellbreak as a video game in general is just like the feeling I get from shooting fireballs and like zooming through the air with flight and just teleporting. Like I feel like it's like the Avatar: The Last Airbender game that I've been looking for my entire life. Like I just feel powerful in it.
So in terms of growing the community, I have actually only joined Element relatively recently. There have been like several different communities that kind of like have risen and fallen for the life of Spellbreak. I've kind of taken part in all of them, uh, at least like if not as a moderator, as like and staff, at least as a player. So I've seen them all. Uh, and the way we run Element is just we keep on pumping out content, we keep on pumping out tournaments, we make sure everything is like very official, everything's well structured, and we incentivize with the prizes and other things.
So to be honest, it started out with just wanting bigger scrim lobbies. Like we would just hit up friends and say, "Hey, message your friend and message your friend," and we'll just all get into a big lobby. I think it's kind of word of mouth, really.
Oh, so the Element server has been the most successful competitive community of Spellbreak thus far. It's been it's been growing very rapidly. Like if I go back and talk about other communities, they struggled getting enough signups to fill a tournament, but we are like over flooded. We have too many people for the tournaments we want to run, and like the qualifiers are more than double the capacity. And I think we've been very successful. It's been great.
I think we've been very successful. We haven't really had many issues, and all the issues that we have had were things that we've expected, like requeues and stuff like that. And we're getting bigger with the prize pools nowadays, and people are just having a good time. And it's like as competitive as possible, and it's just I think we're doing great, man.
Oh, we're gonna first of all we're gonna keep on what we're doing right now, obviously, and like we're gonna grow as we go in numbers, as we go in players. Maybe we could also grow in prizes and like hopefully just loop it and snowball it from there. Like more players, more prizes, more players, more prizes, like kind of until you're at the top. Um, but we definitely are gonna also bring some cool ideas, some maybe formatted tournaments. Look out for that with cool restrictions and to spice things up. We're gonna highlight players with roles on Discord, and we're just trying to be the competitive Discord for Spellbreak.
So to be honest, we're just gonna keep trekking with where we're at right now. Like we are slowly growing as Spellbreak is growing. We post on the Reddit, get new members. Um, we're getting bigger and bigger prize pools. We're actually getting ready to start reaching out to other school districts that have esport programs and stuff like that, and trying to get bigger prize pools. But yeah, just continuing with what we're doing right now. We'll just keep growing as Spellbreak grows. You'll always catch me running conduit, and if I'm not running conduit, I'm taking the lightning gauntlet. That's just my calling card. Everyone knows that Zen is a lightning main. That's my thing.
My preferences have changed throughout I've been playing. Like I used to play a lot of wind fire only pretty much back in like pre-alpha to closed alpha. That's when Blink was in the game. It's kind of like the old school style of Spellbreak where you would just like jump up, blink around, and like try to predict slow moving fireballs. Um, After that, I moved on to like playing a lot of lightning, and recently it's been kind of nerfed, and now I'm kind of in a void where I don't know what to play, but like I can kind of play anything. So like in the trio tournament we have coming up, I'm actually replacing like a friend who can't come, and that friend plays a lot of Stone Shaper. So I decided I'm gonna play Stone Shaper for his sake. I want them to know that we care about the players and we do our best to make everything for them. Obviously, like I've talked a lot about how we want to grow, but ultimately it is for the players. We want to make a good competitive scene for you guys. So we care about you. We're looking out for you.
Man, I would like the Element server community to know that I love y'all. I appreciate everybody just coming out and getting involved and playing scrims when they thought they were bad, or stomping the tournaments when they know that they can. Like it's just it would be nothing, as cheesy as it is. It'd literally be nothing without everybody just getting involved and giving feedback and just having a good time. Thank you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with game 3. This game is still on EU. This will be the last one played on EU. After a couple nice words from those beautiful Element staff, thank you, Zen and Thunderson. We are here with game 3 as we see Skriba in a little bit of a sticky situation as he rounds the corner. Already has a really nice ice gauntlet, turns around, sees somebody looting, and decides to double back, catching the very bottom of that cloud to double up on the invis. OSK, what do you think about the position that Skriba's in here with no rune?
Honestly, he just picked one up.
Oh.
So he has a dash that's warming up right now. Honestly, I think he's playing this probably as well as he could have. He's constantly changing levels, which is what a toxicologist wants to do, especially in the sort of meta that we're seeing with Stone Shaper, and also we're seeing Pyro come out as well. So definitely changing the levels, getting some obstacles between him and his opponent. It's working very well for him. He hasn't taken a tick of damage quite yet. And he is just going to looks like he's just going to be looking to sit out this fight until he can have an opportunity to swoop in once the fighting is done.
Yeah, Skriba did back out of that one completely. As you said, changing levels, and it pays off as he gets a blue toxic upgrade from his common. Skriba's actually been popping off this tournament so far. I believe he's in second place as it stands. So he turns around and throws down that quick toxic on the ground, but it doesn't quite connect on anything. Skriba continues to rotate, definitely looking for those boots. There was a blue amulet there, but he didn't pick that up. He does get the boots, though, which is crucial. More crucial than the amulet upgrade, in my opinion, as he continues to get shot down. But the none of the toxic coming at him lands. Skriba bounces off the side of that building just in time to avoid the DF and throws out 2 slaps, but neither connect. The second one does in fact connect, giving him a bit of corrosion damage for the stick, but the ice shot, he doesn't even take it, OSK. He knows that's not the right move. Gigabyte gets a kill into RFJ, Brit, and Black Labby gets a kill as well. This is just rolling down as we start here. Skriba hits a nice fadeaway from deep for about 56 damage as he looks to close the gap, just trying to find where his opponent might be resetting, but instead of finding a reset, he finds another fight. Skriba loads up his shot, but does not connect on the second one. Skriba now just going to bounce through the castle, take a quick second, maybe even look for some pots. As you see, this is the situation, OSK, where having a full-on amulet that he could have picked up when he saw it would have been crucial. But now Skriba's kind of stuck in this weird limbo state where he's not quite confident enough to fight this, but not weak enough to just run away and leave. He's just hanging around the edges.
Well, I can tell you, despite not having the name that would confirm this, amulets are pretty common to come by, so I don't think it'll be too much of a problem for him here. But he is getting quite the test early on to see how that second place placement is holding up for him here. He's getting a chance to test out his skills. Hasn't quite closed anything out yet, but looks like an opponent is going to be looking to close out something on him. Thankfully, he has a Vanishing Mist skill. Not quite the Outbreak yet. Wait until the second zone for that. But he is just going to sit back behind this little nook right here, as plenty of names are showing up in the kill feed. Captain Zyron already has a kill onto, I'm going to call that Flip DM. He also, you saw Merlin the Wizard take out, I missed the name, but Merlin has an exile this game, for sure.
He's going to be picking him up. That's awesome to see. Merlin is definitely an aggressive player, playing with that Pyro W classic strategy. As we bounce over to Next perspective, remember, Next is in first place by over 200 total score points. So he's just looking to take this one kind of slow. I think he's just looking to work this one. 0 kills so far. He's just looting up, making sure he's safe, ready to go into any sort of situation. I'm confident that Next knows what needs to be done here. This is the last game on EU. After this, we move over to NA. So Next knows that this might be his last opportunity to do full flicks without any sort of latency issues. He will just be preparing himself to get that first place lead into the NA series.
Yeah, and I can tell you now, I'm just going to call Next strategy this game, Next do what Next do. Because he can play aggressive right here and try to rack up as many exiles as possible before the NA latency issues come in. He could try to play passively and play for placement. But I can tell you now, in terms of scoring, exiles and damage are very, very highly coveted in this sort of tournament, as in any other tournament. So I wouldn't be surprised if he plays the matches maybe a little bit more passively, but I'm still expecting a lot of exiles out of him.
It's cool. We've been seeing a lot of this braided skin. I'm interested to see how everybody managed to get it off random selection, but we've been seeing it all day, and I'm happy. Love the skin itself. It's amazing.
I can tell you now, they all went through that tutorial, and that is the skin that they picked as their free one. So not quite random. It looks like Miss Imberdane just went off and gave it to him upon request.
That's awesome. Shout out to that new tutorial as well. It's beautiful, but we're focused on these competitive scraps as we get down to it. We're on to Very Crisp right now, who already does have a kill. 25 people left. Skriba gets a kill onto Muffin, and we're just rolling here. Crisp is looted up, ready to go, in fact. All purples all over his body. We're moving to Kalnor too, who we have been talking about constantly with that Pyro play. 25 people left, no kills for Kalnor as well. Does have the Shadow Step double sack due to Runic Fluency. And the Scavenger, such a fixture of Kalnor's playstyles, to have that Scavenger talent selected. It's interesting because Fervor is usually a very popular selection with the Pyro, but instead he's rocking the Scavenger, confident in his ability to finish a kill.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Now that extra little bit of AoE from Combustion is going to help him out there. He also has Frost to take care of those long-range engagements too. I wouldn't put it past him to have a lot of exiles here. Now, keep in mind, he is an NA player. He hasn't had the best showings from the first 2 games, maybe for that reason, but I would expect him to do a lot better once matches 4 through 6 come in. Looks like he's already found a nice little target with that Toxic Cloud. He knows, or he at least suspects, that someone is up here. He sees someone to his right. Ready up that Frost, boy. It's ready to test your skills here. You have 3 players around here. You saw 2 to the left, and now there's 4. There's 1 in the tower as well.
Yeah, this is a hard position to be in. As you said, he's getting pegged from all angles and jumped on again by a Lightning player. Kalnor has to be very careful about in the middle of this bridge, there is not very much cover. It does give you that high ground position that's so coveted, but it does not give you that line of sight break. It's pretty much crucial for a lot of these fights. As Kalnor just jumps in, hitting 2 back-to-back,
Ooh, this
gets
is
Featherfalled on.
dangerous.
Interesting to see Featherfall out here, but Kalnor lands a beautiful snipe in just in time as Fake Doc secures the kill onto Gigabyte. Kalnor takes a nice quick dash to get out of that dangerous situation. Wind Spam coming onto his back, switches up, does have a Shadow Step, so he uses it beautifully to break off and get another reset, but it's not going to be enough. His opponent tracks him so clean as he gets chased down, blows up a cloud right at his feet. Not the right move you want to take there. Kalnor down to 48 effective HP and takes a Shadow Step as well, throws down a little bit extra damage, but doesn't connect, but the snipe does 47. Not enough. Fake Doc secures it. He says, I will see your damage and raise you double. Finishing off Kalnor, that is Fake Doc's second kill of the game, as you see Tusk also getting a kill here. Nice to see Tusk starting to pop off. He's such a confident and well-known player in the community. I'm excited to see him out here for this tournament here.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And one name that I want to bring up, you saw Fake Doc get the kill on the Gigabyte, who was in 4th place. Looks like Fake Doc is like, why are you in 4th place? Why are you there? I should be there. And now he has 2 exiles to his name, no shields on him. He knows that this zone right here is only going to do about 2 damage. Looks like actually 4 damage per tick. So he's going to try to get a nice little heal up, maybe replenish the shields while no one can see him in this fog of war. That's what I'll call it.
I'm usually very skeptical of storm dives, but I think that was the right move. Fake Doc 100%. Although it was ticking for 4, he did get the full pot off with the shield too, but now he's getting jumped on. This is the disadvantage of having to roll into the storm. He's getting pressed hard. Fake Doc storm recharge, his armor slowly recharging as he uses his Toxicologist Outbreak to slide through. Doesn't actually look for any damage or turnaround, just trying to get in the trees. Shout out to Sticks, trying to make sure he can get in those trees. Fake Doc definitely got his way out of this. I'm impressed with how he managed to lose that opponent and was tracking him aggressively.
Yeah, no hiding in the bushes today. He's got to run away and maybe get another pot off right here. I can tell you that there was more to that little strategy popping out of the zone than what you might first think. So with him actually getting his health damage right there, he was actually able to pull off a nice big pot, and that gives you regeneration over time. It's a little bit overkill for the health that you currently have, but if you get into a fight, that extra little bit of regen acts almost like the recovery talent. So maybe just a little something more to read into right there in that zone strat.
Yeah, unfortunately, as we're watching Wolf here, he doesn't connect on a single one of these shots, which is super unfortunate. He's known to hit those, but I think 5 straight on those targets. I will give him the fact that they were dancing around at a distance, but now Wolf is going to look to redeem himself and clean this up. His Fortitude is still proc, so he will take the first shot without any damage actually landing. Doesn't need it yet as he continues to rotate, gets the Corrosion Tick off onto his opponent, turns around to the side, has that focused mana. So he's looking to do very big damage. Interesting build from Wolf. Focus Mana Fortitude Recovery. Haven't seen this one personally as he looks over to just peek on the side of this line of sight and fire some shots over the valley, over the bridge, and into the enemy's jaw. 2D Peng, we're going to rotate over and see what he's up to. Down with no armor, looking to reset quite possibly. Has the common Shadow Step with a very high cooldown. So he is going to be very immobile as he continues to pop around here.
Yeah, not only that, but also a very popular skin, another braided skin. I mean, I know that it probably has an in-game name already, but we're gonna have to name this skin at some point. What are some ideas for you, Plays? What are we gonna name this skin?
I don't know. I'm absolutely god awful at names.
Oh,
but
no.
what I do know
Oh,
is
no.
that 2D Peng is jumped on as he throws it down here. Might want to use his Frost Sorcery to try to break off that wind damage that's coming in through him. 2D Peng, nice juke. Turning around the front side and then using his Outbreak to break through the line of sight. That was a very, very, very clean usage of Toxicologist mobility to break line of sight and get yourself out of a sticky situation. Now 2D Peng still not out of the woods yet. 52 HP and ticking, has the big pot to go as well, but no armor to speak of. 2D Peng is in a vulnerable situation as we switch over to Fumbles XO, somebody that we haven't seen too much of today. Not a lot of angles coming from him, but Fumbles is still a very good player, always on that Stone Shaper, as you know. All purple loot, ready to get some kills here. The Dark Breaker in the kill feeds picked up a kill at the same time that Fake Doc gets his 3rd or 4th kill of the game for Fake Doc, excuse me. He is having quite a show on the last EU game here. And then we switch over to NA and it's going to be a different story, I believe.
Yeah, I was about to say he's even popping your boy Kowalski right there. Or Kowaksi, my bad. Just taking him out right there, cold blood. But it looks like Karuru is being jumped on right here, and I'm just letting you know now, man. People in the last EU game are saying there is no mid-game lull today. We're going to come out. We're going to come out swinging, and no one is safe from this mid game. Little T-Foul taking out Screeper right there. That's a big takedown. I wonder where Next is. That's who I haven't seen him in a while, and I
think
wonder
next
why
is
that
really
is.
Sticking to that play that we were talking about, how he's just trying to make sure he's so far ahead. He just wants to make sure he can secure some placement and get himself into a position to get a kill or two, maybe at the end of the game, just to sit himself pretty as we go into NA. Wolf gets a kill into Lanashi TV as we're watching Karuru move his way through here. Double dash stacked up, has the runic fluency with the dexterity, but gets jumped on aggressively by what seems like a toxicologist player. Corrosion ticking crew takes the firewall as well. He has 34 armor plus 100 effective HP. Now he's bouncing, and moving. Just as we say that, Next picks up a kill here. We're down to 10 people as Karuru looks to just try to break some sight and get into this castle for protection. Might not be enough here, OSK. This is looking like a dangerous spot for our hero, Karuru.
Yeah, the zone saying this is a no-fly zone. Get out of here. No castle access for you. I'm going to damage you for 4, and then, or actually for 6, and then I'm going to damage you for 8 or even more into this next zone. You better get away from me. Get back into the fight, son.
We might want to pop over to a quick different angle as Karuru, it just looks like he's rotating around the side of the circle, and we want to see some big fights as Hot and Herc looks like he's right in the middle of the action. Has that featherfall that we were talking about with the Stone Shaper. A little bit of coordination as he can jump up and control how fast he drops due to bedrock ability. Yes, I remember the ability of that Stone Shaper talent as he gets way high up there. It looks like Hot and Herc is just posted in the center, comes down with the Hulk slam, but it doesn't connect. Gets himself up again on the featherfall. Remember, the cooldown will be ticking while he's up in the air, but it is a scary sight. You are playing Duck Hunt right now, Hot and Herc, and you are straight in the air, taking lightning damage from everywhere. Hot and Herc continues to rotate, featherfall off cooldown again, and burns it. This is not the rune you need for these types of situations, as it looks promising, but when you get down to it and people start noticing what you're doing, you're going to get slammed. Hot and Herc now taking the damage we talked about, but he gets down, gets DF, gets a little bit of armor regen due to the Stone Shaper and recovery combination, continues to pop himself up here. Maybe we switch camera angles and see who's on the ground scrapping, as we see Black Labby now down to 8 HP, thinking of the similar idea of popping himself straight up. This is a sack of gold floating in the middle of the sky right now, and all that somebody needs is one tap, but he jumps down and executes himself, lands on his own cloud, just enough damage. He almost made a huge play onto Karuru, but Karuru takes out Next with a beautiful follow-up. Now we're down to a one-on-one OSK. Karuru is full HP onto an opponent who's effectively very low. Karuru might be able to finish this one off and get the game 3 dub. As he tries to take a quick potion, gets shocked, so the CC's gonna hurt him. Remember, he does not have Harmony. He opted for Runic Fluency, but it looks like it's turning out as ARG Karuru turns the corner, misses that fireball, and gets that firewall to finish the kill onto Fake Doc, winning game 3, the last game on EU. Ladies and gentlemen, what a start to this event. We have now just seen 3 full games, all of which were chaotic. Next winning the first 2, and Karuru taking game 3. Anything you want to note about what you just saw, OSK?
So first things first, we have to talk about the leader of this placement right here. Next going down in about 3rd or 4th place, which isn't too bad. I mean, it's great, but in terms of what Next can do, maybe a little bit lackluster among the first 3 matches right there. He still gets away with, I think, 2 exiles if I'm correct. So he is still going to be sitting pretty in the placements right here. One thing I want to note is that Fake Doc came out swinging. He had so many exiles that game too early, and then even more as the game went on. It's actually quite a surprise to see Karuru clean that up. But yeah, that's all I have for that match. I mean,
yeah, no, it's a great point you raised about Fake Doc right there. I mean, he was someone that we didn't quite mention, but it is worth mentioning on that leaderboard. And he may have just made a very convincing effort to pop himself up to the higher ranks here. Again, it doesn't seem like anybody's going to overthrow Next as it stands. He should still be at first place, but that does introduce some questions as we go into these NA series. Latency will be higher for EU players. NA players will have a little bit more of a snappy connection, so they can maybe make some more of those plays that we know. Again, Next showing off what it looks like at low latency. He had some amazing matches. And although you did say that game 3 was not exactly what we're used to seeing from Next, meaning that we're used to seeing him win the game, but he definitely had a good performance coming down into that top 10, 2 kills. It's consistent, and it's what you need to do to take home that sweet hollow skin.
Yeah, it's the name of the game right here. He very fortunately in those first 2 games were able to get a very high amount of exiles. We saw 13 in the books for that. No one was even close to that. So that's going to give him a nice little cushion. Now, like you said, as latency returns for returns for NA players as it gets a little bit better ping. We're going to see if players like Tfal, players like Dark Breakers, players like I'm not sure of the confirmation of Gigabyte. I really want to know where he's from, but in any case, those players are going to start closing the gap. Is my prediction right here? It's going to become less and less of a cushion right here. Next, of course, I'm still expecting high placements. He's shown that he's able to do it even on as high as 200 ping. So I'm still expecting good things from him, but I want to see who's going to rise up and try to take that spot.
100%. And people like Tfal are definitely going to capitalize on the NA server. Tfal did win the last Spellbreak event we had, and that was a solos as well. So he definitely has that championship experience, that playoff experience that they say in hockey for any of my Canadians in chat. But he has it. He has that elite experience, and I'm ready to see him whip it out on us. He does. He has been rocking that conduit that we're used to seeing from him. In terms of the class breakdown, it does look like mostly the same type of action we're seeing here, OSK. Maybe a little bit more Stone Shaper, like you mentioned, a little bit more recovery coming out on this new patch, and a lot less wind spam. But those are all expected. There's nothing new or nothing that we really are thrown through a loop that we're seeing here today.
Now, one thing I want to call out real quick is that I'm seeing a little bit more lightning, and I don't know if that's from more newer players picking it up and seeing how it does in the competitive scene. Now they've had chances through community scrims to kind of test it out and see how they do against a better set of players, but I'm thinking that they're coming from this sort of shooter genre where it's mostly point and click, and lightning is going to be the most familiar to them. So there's probably a lot of good tracking going on with that new lightning gauntlet because I'm seeing a lot more of it now. And
Yeah,
I'm thinking they're going
100%.
to start. I'm thinking they're going to start placing more just from the virtue of more players playing it.
Yeah, I think with the Lightning, what may be the reason we're here is because it's kind of filling that role that was left by the Wind Gauntlet. When the Wind Gauntlet was a little bit oppressive, that was the go-to gauntlet to get your consistent damage and to finish kills. But it looks like as those nerfs came in and it's become back to its mobility purposes, Lightning has kind of filled that gap. And now it's the execution gauntlet. It's what you see at that mid range. It's what you see finishing off somebody taking a teleport or taking a flight. And it's definitely interesting to see how it has been shaken up a little bit as we pop over. This has been crazy. We are going to go to NA. We can't say it enough because it does make all the difference in these events here. It's
Really
a
does.
shaky thing to play your first 3 games and then play on a lower ping. It's not just like you're jumping in on it. It's going to be a bit of an adjustment period. Do you expect to see more aggressive play or more passive play coming into game 4?
It depends on who you're asking. So I'm expecting to see a lot more aggressive play from Tfal. Tfal in these EU games I've been seeing has been playing a little bit more passively, just trying to keep the placement up since his playstyle in particular really favors a good ping with lightning and toxic. You want to make sure to get as low no regs as you possibly can. So I'm going to expect him to play a little bit more aggressively. Also, the Dark Breakers, in terms of him, T Dark B, I'm not expecting anything to really change. He's been playing very aggressively, even in EU, and he's been doing very well for himself, as we're about to see here. With him being an NA player, he is going to just thrive in this new environment with less than 100 ping.
Yeah, we're going to bring up the scorecard so you guys can see exactly what we're talking about here. So next, still with that dominant position, he's
Oh my
extended his score point
goodness.
lead, OSK. Now he's up on
Oh my.
400 on number 2, but we got to stay focused. What else do we got going here? We got Skriba in number 2, Darkbreaker
Yep.
still maintaining that 3 spot, but like you said, Fake Doc making a massive jump up into 4th place due to that amazing performance he had, whipping it up. And now we're going to be looking to the future to see exactly what we're going to see at a game 4. It will
Yeah.
be on NA. And one more thing to mention was Karuru. We cannot stress that enough. Showing off, taking the win. That
Yeah.
first place placement is massive. Add on to that the fact that he has damage and exiles to boot. Karuru now moving up to 7th place within striking distance of getting himself on the podium.
Yeah, I want to point out right there, those 3 exiles, that was all from the last game. So he must have been placing very well in the first 2 because he doesn't have 1,000 damage. Well, it's very close. But those 3 exiles are from game 3 only. So you can see how very, very heavily these are being scored with damage and exiles. They're very important. Of course, he must have been placing high. I mean, I can't think of any other reason. I mean, he's just been he's been playing for placement.
Yeah, 100%. And no call outs here, but I'm a little bit disappointed in what I'm seeing from T-Foul and Blue Flu. I was expecting a little bit higher than the top tens, but sometimes as we were talking about, it's harder with that higher latency. Maybe they're just dealing with that transition period.
I
I
would
do
imagine so.
expect to see T-Foul popping himself up, or at least I'm hoping that my guy T-Foul can bring himself into that top 5 and get himself within a shot of taking home some goodies. But again,
Yeah.
we're going to read through what we got on the prizes. So first place takes home the holo skin and the master pack. Second place also takes the master pack without any holo skin. Nonetheless, that's still a beautiful prize. Third place gets the battle mage pack. Fourth place gets the mage pack. You can see on your screen right now what exactly is included in those packs. There's a lot on the line, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen. This is a big tournament with big prizes.
For sure, for sure. And in addition to all those packs, look at the amount of currency, man. Like 15,000 in-game currency. That is huge. If like we don't know how the currency is being broken down, I would imagine it's going to be $1 to 100 points. If you think of it in that sort of context, you're looking at $150 like in terms of in-game store credit just from winning either first or second place. That is absolutely huge. Think of all the skins you could buy. Skins like we have confirmation of the braided skin that we've been seeing a lot of. The community is apparently calling it Jasmine. You get more skins like that with even more decorations on it. I mean, it's $150, man. You don't mess with that.
Yeah, that's no joke. And I mean, every prize on this list, again, is just, it's all about just performing to your best ability. We are now going to move towards game 4. The break is over. You guys are all ready to see exactly what's going to happen as we switch over to a different server. But yeah, OSK, there is a lot on the line. That currency is no
It's a
joke.
lot.
And as you get through these games, and as you get into the further patches of Spellbreak, when these skins start getting released, these things that everybody wants to get, and the fact that you earned that currency from wiping lobbies like somebody like Nex is doing, somebody like Scriba is doing, that just makes those skins even sweeter, OSK, because you were smacking kids to get those skins.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I mean, dude, it's also a hollow skin. That's worth more than money. That's
Oh my
elusive.
god.
Nobody
It's a
has hollow.
status symbol. It is a status
It
symbol in the
is.
Spellbreak community. As you put on the holo skin and your game becomes 5 times harder because every single person in that lobby wants to exile you and remove you from the game. But speaking of removing from the game, we're going to move over to game 4 right now.
Oh boy. Game 1 on NA, game 4 in the tournament. Who is going to rise up and take next spot? I can tell you it's going to be very difficult. Next is ahead by almost twice the amount of score. So we're going to have to see very aggressive play if someone wants that hollow skin. Let's see what they will do. Here
Yeah,
we're
so
on
we are at
Rasticon.
39 people in this game right now. We are moving over to Sincade's perspective. Master Frostborn title. Don't know exactly where he got that, but it looks like Sincade went down. Lonishi TTV smacking him up. An early kill untouched, but it looks like it's because there was a fight coming from the earlier engagement. Lonishi will now have to move and try to take on this 1v1 after cleaning up the kill onto Sincade. That is so massive for Lonishi to secure some exile score, but it's getting smacked around now by this lightning player, trying to crouch to break line of sight, but it's not going to be enough. Both players exchanging so close. Lonishi throws on the cloud. It's not going to be enough. He's getting beamed.
Oh no.
Gigabyte holding it down and absolutely beaming Lonishi out of the lobby. That was an insane amount of damage coming. I guess it may be from that epic lightning gauntlet. You know how much damage that can deal in a short amount of time. As we're going to pop around the map and see if we can find some more action. Millsy42 is in the kill feed getting some more picks. More plays are being made in game 4 of the Becker Breaker Challenge Finals. Captain Zarin moving over, hitting a huge yopper onto his opponent, breaking up again. These are such nice peeks that he's doing. This is how you deal with Stone Shapers. You post yourself up on a rock, make sure you're not completely level, and just try to fight him off. Now Captain Zarin is going to try to move on forward, apply corrosion. That is another crucial step in fighting Stone Shapers, is making sure you're always burning the armor. Nice jump by Zarin to get himself over onto that cloud, using it as a little bit of line of sight, taking both shots, but neither of them connect onto a Stone Shaper opponent. Takes the fadeaway and hits him for 50 off the rip, though. Now Captain Zarin is going to have to chase this with just his common booties. Not a very fast sprinter, as he just tries to get this, line himself up for this next shot, but he doesn't connect, and it looks like his opponent found another fight. This could either be very good or very bad for Captain Zarin, as he gets an opportunity to either pick up 2 kills or get wiped with 32 people left in the game. Hits a nice frost shot to follow up with exactly what we're calling out here. Got to be careful of that fracture though, OSK. You know how it goes when you run out of mana.
Yeah, I can tell you now, the belt here is going to serve him very well. He has an epic belt, 90 armor, so almost double the amount of health of someone who doesn't have the belt. But if you fall in that fracture, it does not matter. The fracture takes names, and it doesn't care whose name it is. It will delete all of your extra armor. So you got to make sure to keep in mind of your placement and make sure not to fall in, or OP is going to have another bit of content to create.
Shout out to OP with those fracture fail videos, by the way. Everybody knows them. Captain Zarin now getting into a bit of an engagement, but he took a massive amount of damage. Not expected.
no.
He should have cleaned this one up so much easier. His opponent was down to really just nothing but HP. Captain Zarin chokes 2 slaps, and now he's down to 60 himself. Gonna have to reposition here. This is not what he wants. We see Wolf getting a kill onto Moktola, and SK Darkbreakers getting a kill onto Rastakon. In the top, you see on that kill feed, Captain Zarin gonna level up his dexterity. Interesting right here, OSK, that he's rocking that dexterity, just like you were talking about, to deal with Stone Shapers. But then you see there, he's fighting a Stone Shaper, and he doesn't quite utilize it well enough to get away.
Oh my goodness, Elpa is educated. Look at all of those talents. He is so talented. This man has all the abilities in the world. There's nothing he can't do. Let's see if he can win this match as a nice little test.
I think Elpadog needs to go out and get himself a damn lottery ticket after this game. He has a legendary amulet, legendary boots, all skills leveled, and legendary gauntlet. I don't know who he paid to get this loot, but he has it with no exiles. He did this all on his own, but now he's kind of just watching this ice gauntlet poke over at him. Gonna use his TP to try to break it. Boulder comes in, but he's definitely clear of that, but he takes a 67 on the side. This is a very big advantage for Stone Shaper, where you can stand behind that line of sight, no potions needed, just keep on punching the ground, sir. Make sure you're good and healthy, as you see Wuhan taking out Tusk and EDO the Mad King.
Uh-oh, watch out, boy. I can tell you now, Elpa's just asserting his dominance, saying, you're not going to hit me, man. I'm behind a box. You know how powerful a box is? It can stop my stone gauntlet. Look at me slam the ground. Try to snipe me some more. Try it. Oh, he tried it.
That was an interesting little quick secession there. If nobody saw exactly what happened, Elpa went to pick up the Frost Gauntlet to return fire, decided not to take it, picks up his fire once again, and then gets shot in the butt for that indecisiveness. Unlucky, as you see Wuhan take out BLPR Sandro, and Millsy get a kill onto Yeet Sheets as well. Lots of kills coming down here. 24 people in this game 4 of the Becker Breaker Challenge, supported by Element Discord. We got Fumbles XO now moving through. He's got that common amulet and the common boots as well. That's the dash rune. His loot is looking terrible right now. I don't know if this is exactly what you want to see, but Fumbles is doing it.
I don't know. It looks like Fumbles was doing pretty well, as it looks like he was the person firing on Elpa right there. But I just want to point out, Darkbreakers gets another kill on the fake Doc, further increasing his score, and I have not heard from Next yet. So I want to see if he's going to show up on the scoreboard. I mean, I haven't seen anything from him yet. Where is he? There he is. He is hiding.
Popping over to see exactly what he is doing here. 0 kills. It looks in the middle of a fight as he gets behind the rock to do a quick reset. Has that green toxic with the nice fire gauntlet, but that might not exactly be what Next wants. You usually see Next in this early game situation with the frost on his side, but this game he's opting for the fire, whether that be from necessity or that just be from all he could find. Millsy42 gets a kill into RF2 Brit. More kills for Millsy, more kills for Darkbreakers. They are really showing up for this game. I'm excited to see how your pocket pick of the Darkbreakers turns out here. He has been having a fantastic tournament so far here, OSK.
Can tell you, man, he's one of the most enthusiastic people about the Spellbreak scene ever since I played with him literally one match a few months ago. I mean, he was okay then, but he has really shown up. He has improved at the game so much, and you are seeing the fruits of his labor right here. I don't know if he'll be able to overtake the score that Next has, because it's almost twice the amount of second place, with Darkbreakers being in third. But if anyone's gonna do it, I would think it would be either him or Tfal.
Yeah, I agree. But the thing is, Tfal is already at such a gap right now. Darkbreakers is in a much better position to strike here. Tfal would need to wipe at least the next 2 lobbies completely to put himself in even a top 3 situation. Scribo, though, 0 kills this game. Remember, moved over to NA, so his connection will be a little bit more shoddy. 21 people left in the game. no kills since that Millsy drop onto RF Brit. So this looks like we are entering that mid-game lull that we talk about. A little bit of time down as people rotate into the bigger circle. Very crisp though, shooting down with that Kovacs practice, getting a couple lightning strikes, throwing down the zap as well, hitting him bang big for 11, and a nice fire break. Chris might be going to go get this kill, but his positioning was not on to finish that off. Now he's just got to get through the line of sight and finish off the kill, missing just barely. His opponent's movement is so clean with it. He's getting behind everything he can, but this is not enough. Chris is going to finish off this kill.
Oh my goodness, he's still alive.
Oh no, one more.
He has recovery for sure.
Chris is just getting danced around here. He needs to finish this kill before a third party comes in and potentially steals his kill. And it looks like he got his kill taken by Ilya Shich, taking the kill onto Captain Zarin, and Kwakski goes down to Elpadog. Gigabyte takes out Wuhan. We are down to 17 people, and we are dropping fast right now, OSK.
Yeah, there's no social distancing around here. Everyone's up in everybody's face, getting so many exiles here. That's another name I haven't seen in a little bit. Ilya Shish. I don't know if he's a part of the tournament here.
He is. I believe he is coming through for this tournament. But nonetheless, how sad was it to watch Chris not secure that kill? He was chasing that man down on 1 HP. That is a mega tilter right there, because that is a big scorecard additions you can get. As we get over to Hot and Herc, who's rotating around here. Hot and Herc has been placing high in most of these games, but just the damage and the exiles is not enough to put yourself in a winning position. Hot and Herc now just bouncing through the rest of the map, does have those beautiful looking gauntlets. Featherfall, not a big fan of that Featherfall edition. I do not think it works for these tournament events. These players are too snappy, too good, and too quick with their mechanics to let you get away with the Featherfall.
Yeah, it looks like Gigabyte, though, is landing a gigabyte of damage onto Fumbles XO. He's saying, why did you snipe my boy Elpa? Now you're dead. So he is going to pick up another exile right there. Quite the high number here on NA, I believe. But yeah, that Featherfall, as you were saying, I wouldn't call it the best in these sorts of competitive environments, given that you can see it on the right hand right now. Everyone's running Frost, or everyone is running a Lightning Gauntlet. And it is just a prime target. Like you said earlier, it's like playing Duck Hunt. You just don't want to be the duck.
Exactly, but that's the issue with Featherfall, is that you are cosplaying the duck as you pop yourself up there into open sky. See Wolf taking some shots at a Featherfall in Gamer as we talk about it, but none of them are going to land. 2D Peng rocking that same skin with the braid, got the flight double stack, lightning in the hand, and the toxic offhand. Interesting build to have the toxic lightning combination. Sometimes the lightning can be very hard to keep consistent with the toxic can be hard to keep consistent when you have the lightning as your other hand gauntlet. You don't have anything to really deal with the super long range fights or any sort of poke coming from Frost, but you do have the flight to kind of mitigate your issues there. Conduit with the runic fluency, such a popular pick, as 2D Peng uses the flight to just bounce themselves up directly, takes a frost shot in the backside and a boulder. 2D Peng doesn't even know where this damage is coming from. He's rotating around trying to see exactly who his assaulter is, but it's not going to be enough. Does get the flight off, and no frost shot is going to follow him. So lucky. When you take a flight like that on a vertical plane, you are asking to get sniped, but 2D Peng gets away with it. And we're going to slide over now to Millsy42, who hits a beautiful Yopper and rotates on 9 damage. Nothing to corrode, but he hits a huge outbreak. What an assassination attempt from Millsy42. Not an attempt, that was a full-on illegal assassination of Ilya Shich as he goes down. Next takes out Tfal with the Fire Gauntlet. All sorts of kills coming down. That is the 4th kill for Millsy42 in Game 4 of the Becker Breaker Challenge Finals.
Yeah, and I don't think Ilya Shich is a part of the tournament, actually, as I'm getting confirmation from my lovely earpiece right here. It's a good that Millsy is cleaning up the lobby, saying only tournament players allowed, get out of my lobby, and I still have full health.
100%. Elpadog getting a kill onto 2D Peng, Wolf getting a kill onto Herc. We are down to 11 people. Looks like Millsy42, is the one leading the kill count as we talk. Sees his opponent take a teleport, takes a pot shot, but doesn't decide to fire that Frost. You know, it's hard to give your position up. Sometimes the tracking on the Frost, people can watch the bullet come and trace it back to your position, but now it looks like Millsy42 is going to go for it. He sees his opponent doing that classic strategy with the Stone Shaper in the side of the wall. Millsy misses that crucial shot that would have made all the difference in this situation. As we get down to 11 people, the Dark Breakers goes down to Gigabyte. Gigabyte is just getting kill after kill after kill in this game 4. Shadow Step's coming up all in front. Looks like this is the most popular rune we've been seeing all day. Usually it's a debate between Dash and Shadow Step, but Shadow Step has been the dominant rune so far of the day.
Yeah, and you can see Elpa taking out Next as well. Next will go out at 10th place. So his placement is dropping just a little bit once we're getting into NA. Hopefully he has the exiles or damage to back it up. And Millsy is just sitting pretty right here, barely has any damage on him. Legendary Frost, Legendary Shadow Step, running Toxicologist with the 2-2-2 build. Nice little meta setup right there. So
Yeah,
we'll
this is
see if he
definitely the
can
meta
secure
setup
any
we're
more.
used to seeing on those back sides with the 2-2-2 build and that Frost Toxicologist like you mentioned. He also has the legendary Shadow Step, but that might not be quick enough as he gets jumped on by a Patchwork with a fire. Huge slams coming down. Now Milsey is stuck in between a rock and a hard place as he gets hit down to 88 effective HP, rolling. But the Shadow Step cooldown will just barely come up in time as he tries to rotate and flip over the line of sight. Remember, 9 people left, and Milsey 42 is getting smacked.
Oh,
As it comes down to it, takes a quick Storm take 2. That'll be the end of Milsey's game.
Skriba.
Taking it. Now we're down to 8 people. Nice kill, but Skriba is so low with no potions to look for.
No potion.
OSK, this is not where you want to be. Maybe this is where you just look to get some more damage. Skriba might be able to secure one more kill, though. If he can land the shot, he does not get it. Gigabyte turns it around and gets the kill onto him. How many kills is that for Gigabyte? That is 6.
6. It's a Gigabyte of kills.
He is
It's a
now
legitimate
down, takes
Gigabyte
the
of
feather
kills.
falls. We pop around over to Elpadog. He's looking for the other angle. So you saw Gigabyte get the kill and get away with it. Elpadog now in a bit of a reset spot on his well-known Stone Shaper play. This final circle is happening on the outskirts of Halcyon, it looks like. So there's a bit of castle walls that you have to deal with, a change in elevation, things like that. Now we have 3 people left in this game. It looks like Gigabyte, Wolf, and Elpadog to decide game 4 of the Becker Breaker finals here. Wolf down with just 1 armor to tick. He does have recovery, so that will help him whenever he takes his next shot. Wolf does have dash as well. 42 now ticks, so he has a bit of invis. Throws the DF cloud, but it doesn't connect on anything. But he doesn't take damage in return, which is the key in these types of situations. When you have that fortitude, you want to make sure that you are saving it for a crucial moment, like an outbreak slap. You can negate a frost shot. The last thing you want to do is burn your fortitude on some random corrosion puddle. You want to make sure it's being used effectively. As Wolf looks to take the shot, he sees the boulder that's going to start raining down on him. Gets a weird peek here. It's not quite enough to go over the side of the
Oh
wall.
my goodness.
Big bow energy here, OSK. What do you
Big
think
bow
about the final
energy.
circle we got coming down here with 3 people left?
I can tell you now, I think we're going to see Gigabyte drop. Well, he is dropped. My bad. But I was going to say any lightning user that's obviously using lightning is going to have a little bit of a rough time with how close the zone is. Unless you can land that stun, your mid-range closer potential is a little bit lower. Look at how small this zone is. Like, what gauntlets are going to be taking advantage of this? You're going to have Toxic, you're going to have Fire. Exactly what Black Labby is running, and he hopefully will make good use of this running Toxicologist.
Black Labby is making it rain down like an AC-130 with this Pyro Toxicologist flight package he's got
Look
going
at
on
how
here.
small. It's so small. It's smaller than this small bean. What is he going to do? He's just
What
gonna
is the
float up here?
situation
Only
here? I
have
guess he
5
was a
seconds.
stick on
There
it.
you go.
Due to the new changes in the recent patch, you cannot hold your source time. So now Black forced to transcend onto the map, takes a huge slap in the
And
back,
there
gets his
he
flight up
goes.
one more time, so
Oh
he
no,
will have
the
another 5
zone.
seconds. But the zone does take a huge chunk out of Black Labby. Now we're into a one-on-one
Wolf goes
situation between
down.
Elpadog and Black Labby. Black Labby lands in
Elpa and Black.
cloud. He
And
goes
Elpa
down.
takes it to stone. He says, my stone is more powerful than your invis, and you are not going to cheese the flight any longer. Get down on the ground. You are exiled, my friend.
What a game to watch there. We just saw Elpadog secure such a chaotic final circle. When you see situations like that where people are flying straight up and holding out for as long as they can, what matters is just keeping yourself calm. Elpadog looks like he did a great job of that, kept himself in the game, kept himself in a winning position, and takes that first place. I'm curious to see where that's going to put him when it comes to this final placement. Remember, people from 1 to 4 placement get prizes. So that's all you have to do is land yourself on that podium plus a 4th place. OSK, what do you think about what happened with Next there? Going down at what I think is 11th place with 1 exile. That will hurt his overall score.
Yeah, I think that's honestly exactly what I expected. This is pretty much how the flow goes. I mean, we've casted qualifiers, we've casted the elite tournament before. This is exactly how it played out for him in those previous tournaments. So what he's going to be looking for, maybe play for a little bit of placement, stay away from fights where the ping can be more of a factor. You want to try to limit anything that can take you off of that podium. So this is actually exactly how I predicted it would go down. Darkbreaker's coming out with a nice, decent level of exiles. I think between him, Gigabyte, and there was one more up there that I forgot off the top of my head.
Right.
I think a Skriba, actually. I think between Darkbreakers and Gigabyte, those are the two that I think have the most probability of overtaking, because I think Scriba is from NA, or I mean from EU. Maybe
He
you
is
can
from
correct me
EU,
on
I
that.
believe. Yes.
Yeah. So I think Darkbreakers or Gigabyte is going to have the biggest chance of taking him down from that podium, and they're
Yeah.
making good progress.
They're making very good progress. And speaking of progress, we got Elpa Dog, aka Elpa Pog, getting a beautiful win there. Really
Yeah.
tough to fight in those situations. I can't stress it enough. Sometimes when you're at home watching the gameplay, it seems like it's just a chaotic circle. But when you're the one fighting for positioning in a rapidly shrinking circle, you are in game time mode. And Elpa Dog proved that he was able to keep his focus completely, avoiding as much AoE as possible, slamming the ground with that Stone Shaper, showing a bit of love to the Stone Shaper community. You know, Elpa Dog's always been representing that Stone Shaper, sticking with it, sticking through it through hard times. And now he's out here when it is a dominant facet of competitive play. He could have been a reason for that to be shaping up. He has been playing it for so long.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Between him and another community member, I'll call out Borsellino, or Borsellino, I forget which
Hey.
one it is. But between those two, they've really been having some good showings of Stone Shaper, and even Dark Breakers. I think, especially in EU, I think he was running Stone Shaper as well. He might still be doing it. I haven't had a chance to look on his card here recently, but they are showing some major love, and they're having obviously pretty good success with it.
Yeah, it does really look like Darkbreakers is killing these lobbies. I've been very impressed. He's been like the subject of this conversation all day
Yeah,
about Dark Horse contestants, and it's just convenient that he's named the Dark Breakers. It lets us add that extra little string together with it.
yeah,
But
for
yeah,
sure.
he's just been popping off with that Stone Shaper. It's been such an effective tool to get himself a lot of kills, a lot of damage. As you know, Stone Shaper is one of the best classes to go into those types of third-party situations. You get jumped on from another party, and you have that Stone Shaper innate sustain. The only thing that it lacks is inherent mobility. You don't have anything like the Toxicologist to kind of break line of sight. You just got to go big boy and fight. We're going to bring up the scores as they stand right now so you can quickly update yourself and see what we're looking at. Gigabyte making a massive jump up to second
Yeah.
place now. So we can just read it out really quick. We got Next in first, Gigabyte in second, and Darkbreakers in third. Scriba still holding on to that fourth place Mage pack. But it looks like between Darkbreakers and Scriba, we have a 20-point differential between these two. That will go down to the very end of it here, OSK.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I want to point out who all gets prizes here. So far, it's Next through Scriba. Chris is going to have to make some significant progress to get up into that fourth spot. So I'm interested to see if he is going to try to play maybe a little safer, maybe get those safe closing out exiles. He got a little bit shortchanged this last match, not able to pick up that extra little exile, but his damage is nothing to scoff at. He is doing very well in that regard. Now, the two in second and third, like I said, like I predicted, by the way, I did not have access to this while I was making the prediction. But
Right.
Gigabyte and Darkbreakers are making their way up. They've closed the gap between a 400-point gap, and now it's more of a 250 to 300. So
Right.
we're going to
And
see if they can continue that.
so quickly, we're going to pop over and give you guys one more interview with some of the Element team, as well as Cardell Kerr. Again, he's going to be answering a couple more very serious, very important, pressing questions. So we're going to get that one over to you, and we'll be back with Game 5. Remember, there's 2 games remaining in the in the Becker Breaker Challenge Finals, supported by Element. Force of Habit right there, dropping the name. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. We will be right back.
Oof. All right. Well, let's be real here. I have only had dogs over my entire life. But that said, every time I end up going to any location, people's cats are naturally, they seem to always gravitate to me, which is very bizarre and odd. I think left to my own devices, I would actually just have a cat, because dogs are a lot of work and they're annoying, and they also smell really bad when they get wet. So I guess I will go on record as saying, I am a dog person, but I'm open to being convinced to be a cat person.
I'm a dog person easily. Dogs are just a vibe, man. Like cats, they just want food and then they walk away. Like they don't even want to spend time with you. Half the ones that I knew, at least.
Dog. I can't stand cats.
No.
No way. Pizza is like savory and pineapple is like no. It's all acidic. Like no, that just doesn't go together.
how is this even a question? Who pours milk into the bowl first before they pour in the cereal? Like, again, like the goal is to maximize the amount of cereal you can get in. So you pour in the cereal utilizing gravity to make sure that the cereal is in the bowl. Then you put your hand over the cereal to make sure it doesn't overflow. And you pour milk into the divot made between your thumb and your forefinger. It's actually a very, very simple, very, very scientific answer. I don't really understand why anyone would be confused by it.
The cereal, definitely.
The cereal, because if you put the milk first, then you don't know how much. You need to know how much like cereal that the milk is supposed to be inside of, you know?
Well, in the adage of everything being either a soup or a salad, I would say a hot dog is more of a salad. However, I think that as soon as you add sandwich, which is another very viable food category, a hot dog is definitely a sandwich because functionally speaking, if you rip a bun in half and you still put a hot dog between them, that's still a hot dog. And therefore, I would say it is in fact a sandwich.
A hot dog is not a sandwich because a sandwich is two individual slices of bread that are not connected.
So a hot dog is not a sandwich, and that's because like if you have the bun, it's like cut in the middle and you put the hot dog in the middle, right? A sandwich is necessarily like two separate pieces of bread, right? So they have to be like two separate pieces, not one piece cut in the middle. And I think it also has to be like bread, not a bun. I think the bun, like it's the bun and the fact that it's not cut in two pieces, that it's not a sandwich.
Honestly, it switches every single time. If I say GIF, I'm probably gonna say GIF or GIF. Like I'm very indecisive. It just depends on how I'm feeling that day. I'll say both.
GIF.
I say GIF. Like I don't really see why I would say GIF. I mean, isn't GIF like a peanut butter flavor of some sort? I would say it is PlayStation.
Neither. I'm not a big console player. I don't really care. I just do PC.
So it's PC Master Race, let's be honest, but I will pick one. It's Xbox because I remember when I was 8, my boy had like the original Xbox and I always wanted one. And then finally when I was 14, my mom got it. And I just have fond memories of just playing like hundreds of hours of Skyrim like that summer. That was great. So Xbox because of that. But PC, of course.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are in Game 5 of the Becker Breaker Challenge Finals. We have seen all sorts of action come down so far. Remember that Next is currently holding that first place spot as we watch Muffin collect a little bit of loot, get some scrolls where he needs them, and secure that Featherfall. Featherfall has been a contentious rune so far today. Personally, I am not a big fan of that usage. It looks like this is just a desperation rune, as Muffin has not many other options as we get it cracking here. 33 people in the lobby. Darkbreaker's already getting a kill onto SinKD too. Blue Flu getting a kill early too. It looks like Game 5 is off to a cracking start here, OSK.
All right, let me ask you a question, please. Following up on that interview, do you put pineapple on pizza?
I don't order pineapple on pizza, but I'm not against it. I don't personally eat it. Not my thing.
Okay, similarly, do you ever pick up a Featherfall root?
I do that more than I order pineapple pizza. That's what I'll give you right there.
That is fair, but the correct answer is no.
We see Lonishi now loading up the screen here. He's been doing pretty well so far today. We did see him show out in the end circle of Game 4 on NA. Remember that Lonishi is an EU player, so it's interesting to see him kind of pop off a little bit harder on the harder server. Now it looks like he's kind of getting pressed in by another player. Was going to take that rune, but decides not to really do the reading. 2 seconds is too long to push into this fight. This is going to be a tough scrap for Lonishi, but he does have all purple gear, so he probably is in a better position than his opponent. It is so hard for his opponent to try to loot up and scrap him right now as there's 2 people converging on this one location. OSK, what do you think about Lonishi forcing this fight right away?
I think early fights in general are kind of something you want to avoid. However, with his equipment the way it is, the only thing he's going to be missing out on is Outbreak, which is the bread and butter of a toxicologist player, which is the class he is running. He could pick up an early kill. Personally, I would just look to dirty third party it. But if he feels confident, I mean, he could go for it. He just has to be careful.
Yeah, I think a lot of players, to counter that point, is that a lot of players now have looked at the scorecard and said, oh my lord, I only have 2 more games to follow up with 400 total score. So you're going to see this weird mix of some players playing very passive, trying to keep themselves stable, and some players going balls to the wall, trying to make sure they can get as many kills as humanly possible and see if they can bring themselves up into that top 4 spot. Those are going to be people who are around the 8 to 12 range. They're going to be the ones who are W keying constantly. That's probably why we see Lanishi picking every fight he possibly can. You see Fake Doc getting a kill into RFJ Brit at the same time that Marwell got a kill that you can see in the kill feed as well. I'm not sure if that's a tournament player, but it's a kill nonetheless. We see the rest of it going. And we're going to rotate around, maybe catch some more perspectives here, some more angles, and see who else is rotating around this map. We got Fumbles XO rolling through here. Always been on that Stone Shaper all day today. The Flight Rune has been a constant fixture of his build throughout all the games we've seen. It seems like he is stuck on this build. This is what he's practiced. We know this is what he's been playing in scrims. So we know this is what he'll be whipping out. You see Skriba getting a kill into BLPR Sandro in the kill feed. That'll be another big move, but still, 28 people left. This has been a very slow start to Game 5 of the Becker Breaker Challenge Finals.
And a few names to make mention of here. You saw Darkbreakers get a quick well, I think he got a quick kill. I might be wrong on that. No, he did. He killed Senkade. That's correct. I haven't seen anything from Nex, and I haven't seen anything from Gigabyte quite yet. So Darkbreaker's making a good early game kill right there. He's going to be looking to make some more coming into the mid game. I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to avoid that mid game lull that we're all used to seeing. He wants to get as many kills as fast as possible because he has 2 places to make up. Next is going to be clinging on to that first place, maybe playing for placement since fights are going to be more difficult. But it's going to be, I mean, in terms of difficulty, it's going to be very difficult to keep that on a server like this where everyone is starting to get more aggressive. As they say, a cornered knight is the most dangerous kind, and he will fight to the death for that hollow skin.
Exactly. So just as you mentioned that, we saw that Darkbreakers actually looks like he went down to Gigabyte on that Lightning. HB Muffin getting a... So still, 25 people left in this game. OSK, there's a lot of people left as this lobby is thinning out way slower than I expected. Maybe my predictions about aggressive play were not quite well founded. Now we're on to Skriba, who's been having an amazing event so far as he gets right into a fight, throws down the cloud and tries to break it, but takes the corrosion on his opponent's cloud. Now he's going to double back and try to get through and get his invis again, which works successfully. Skriba now kind of has the advantage in this positioning fight as he's lost the line of sight with his opponent. He can decide where he goes from here. Makes the decision to take the low ground, which is very surprising to me. Maybe he's just sight checking and seeing what he can do. Remember, Skriba does not have any armor pots in his inventory, so if he takes any poke, he really has no response other than following up with damage. Skriba will now have to just push forward and just rely on his mechanics, really, to make this one work, OSK. This is what you see sometimes in these Spellbreak competitive events, where if you don't have the resources, you don't have the armor shards, you don't have these things ready to go, you have to go and make the play. You have to force a play. And Skriba may be in kind of an uncomfortable position now that's doubled up by the fact that he has to get a high score to get that hollow skin. Skriba's getting pushed on by multiple angles here as he rotates around the side of the bridge, takes one shot in the back, and has no armor to retaliate, nothing to recharge. He's going to be on that scavenging game now, OSK.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. He's looking for anything blue that he can see on the ground that he might be able to hold up in the air and magically get armor from. But I want to take you back to the kill feed right here. Gigabyte taking out the most threatening thing to his placement for first. The Darkbreakers goes down to him. So now that the gate is wide open, I'm expecting Gigabyte to really break this game right open. He has the potential to do it. He has the aim to do it. He has lightning, and I forget what his other one. Most of his kills come from lightning, admittedly. But dude, he is the biggest threat to next first placement right here.
Yeah, for sure. As you see Tusk taking down Coaxi. Nice kill by Tusk. Always like to see him in the kill feed. T-Foul also getting a kill onto DX, and It's Not Chrome dying to Karuru. 22 people left as everyone seems to be jostling around this little Halcyon edge. Looks like Skriba's going to try to take the snipe, but he doesn't get it. Now he's in a really, really awkward position as there's going to be people folding all over him. Skriba takes that quick little boost that he has to get himself up into that high ground. This is such a nice little ledge where you can up the front pillars as kind of a line of sight break. Again, Skriba has not managed to find any armor potions. This is why recovery is supposedly becoming more and more popular, because players know they're not going to be able to find pots to drink anyway. Recovery gives you that innate sustain that's not necessary to have pots. Skriba's going to take some pot shots, but none of them are going to land as he gets sprayed down by a boulder and a frost shot. I don't know if that's one player or two focusing on him, but he's got to be careful nonetheless, as you see T-Foul getting another kill onto what looks like a non-tournament player, but nonetheless, that will be a scorecard.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm also, there's another one from Gigabyte with a lightning gauntlet as well. I'm also looking at Very Crisp, who's in 5th place right now, looking to break into that prize pool. He picks up a kill onto Millsy42, who was another one that just started popping off last game in the NA server. So we're going to be seeing who can close that gap. I don't know if he can close the gap all the way to first place. I think it's a little bit too late for him, but he's going to be looking to get into some kind of placement, get some kind of reward for his troubles here.
Yeah, Very Crisp now. You see Very Crisp just kind of dodging in and out, doing such a great job switching between that lightning and the fire offhand, doing a little bit of consistent damage with the lightning, trying to find an opponent. It is such a crucial strategy in these competitive games to shoot for the corners. If you don't know where your opponent is, you have to check every corner to make sure they're not resetting. Unfortunately, Crisp actually gets turned on really nicely on his toxicologist opponent. Very Crisp has to do exactly what he can to try to make up for this.
Oh, he's being third-partied as well.
Here. He slightly just got worked by that toxicologist player who looked so low at the front side.
There it is.
It was Skriba, and it was Chris saying, give me that. Also, one thing to note is how much HP Chris just got back from that scavenger with only 1 tick in it. He went from a very contested HP to something that he could maybe even fight onto these next engagements. Chris just throws down that the storm, has his conduit ability to charge up another rune store. Tusk getting a kill into Kartua. It looks like Tusk is starting to warm up here, as he also got a kill into Lanishi. That'll be his 4th of the game. And you guys just saw Chris take out Skriba, which you can also see in the kill feed. This one is going down to the wire, OFK.
For sure, and they weren't separated by very many points. So Chris is very likely going to pass him up in that 4th place bracket, get himself an extra little pack there, maybe an extra little skin, a little bit of in-game currency. So he's doing pretty well. This is a streamer mode player. I don't know why he's in streamer mode. If you are in streamer mode, I don't like you. Maybe we should rotate off.
I think we should bounce across here as we see 2D Peng now getting a little bit of storm damage. This is not exactly opportune. Again, the #1 new thing that we've seen in this tournament has been the braid skin. It is everywhere we look. Everybody loves this skin. Apparently the name is Jasmine. I'm not so sure about that, but whatever it is, it looks like a great skin. Everybody loves it. 2D Peng, one of those people now. But even though the skin looks beautiful, they're going to have to run through this long distance storm. He can see fights happening all across this front area. 2D Peng has to be so careful with how he approaches this. This could either mean success or the end of his event completely if he goes down here with 14 left.
Yeah, I like to follow the old skin adage of beauty is in the inventory of the beholder, because this man has an epic frost right here, epic shadow step, epic equipment. He just needs to find some health, and then he's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Right now, he's looking pretty weak.
Yeah,
he can land his shots.
That belt. That belt can be such a deal breaker when it comes down to a close fight. Do I see Tusk getting a double kill in the? Oh no, he killed somebody and exchanged it for his own life in the storm. Ooh. Very crucial, but nonetheless, I think Tusk had about 4 or 5 kills there, so that is going to be a very, very good performance from a very, very good Spellbreak player. As we see Wolf now, kind of in this nice little nook and cranny, has found himself an amazing place to work from. This will be the headquarters until the storm starts closing, which will happen now. Wolf has not managed to land any of these shots that would be so nice to put onto his damage scorecard, but I think we should just keep bouncing around and see what other angles we got and see who's on the ground really running for it. Fake Doc, one of those people, we get there just in time to see him take Pioneer number 36 out of the lobby. Fake Doc now getting pressed by multiple people. He doesn't know how much HP his opponent has in front of him, so he has to rotate and look around it. Fake Doc takes the quick turn, but doesn't get any damage off. Gets around the circle too. Takes a quick shield. Fake Doc playing this one very well, but nonetheless, this is a very hard position to play out of. Gonna just barely avoid the storm tick as Fake Doc's Shadow Step comes off a cooldown. He can turn this angle if he so chooses. But again, there's Stone Shapers rocking everywhere here, fans.
Yeah, Fake Doc is going to try to say, take your medicine, boy. I have a Toxic Gauntlet right here. Why don't you drink up? I'm going to try to get an Exile on you right here. But he only has Uncommon, which is going to really hinder that effort right there. He should probably look to knock at the tree right there. Drink up. There you go. Take your
Yeah.
real medicine, and then get back into that fight. Secure some kills so you can move up that leaderboard.
Right on, and he just replaced that common with the rare toxic, as you said that. So it's very lucky that he was that upgrade, because you know how little damage the common toxic does. Fenox, common toxic enthusiast, not playing in this event from what I know, but he is a common toxic enthusiast, and he can tell you all about the trials and tribulations of common toxic. Fake Doc now throws down the firewall, but doesn't do any follow-up damage. Kind of just aiming to see where he can work his way into these little cracks and crevices. He knows that this guy might be resetting, so he's going to go for 3 kills. Again, this is the strategy we're going to see all day. They look for people who are resetting because it's a 3 exile square, but Fake Doc is not turning out how he wants to. He took 2 consecutive DF clouds in full. Now he's down to 60 effective HP, misses the air shot. This is a high-pressure situation for Fake Doc, and he has to find a solution to get himself out of it.
Yeah, and also no medicine, no potions, no armor shards for this man, and no way to recover other than finding that. So he is in.
Oof.
He has another kill.
There he goes. Fake Doc takes out.
Maybe he can get some potions now. He got some
Yeah,
armor
I don't
shards,
think
but that's
so,
not
actually,
gonna do
OSK.
much.
There's too much going on here as T-Fel takes down Tragedy Killer, Black Labby takes down Gigabyte, and Black Labby also takes down Very Crisp, so that's going to be a 2-piece McNugget meal for Black Labby, pulling that one out nicely. There is only 7 people left. Black Labby just got majority of his kills in a 10-second window, looking to just, he's surprisingly healthy for what just went down as he turns around with a beautiful air shot. Doesn't quite have his shadow step. You saw him try to flick it, but he doesn't get it off. Frost is going to come out of the pocket, but no damage lands. Black Labby again, positioning so prime here, turning his back on the side, taking a small bit of damage, but it's not going to be that big of a deal as Black Labby continues to navigate this final circle. He's going to see somebody resetting and takes 2 flicks, but the second one just barely misses. The frost shot might come out, but he doesn't decide to take it. His opponent was too squared off to that aim as he gets into a fight and assassinates Elpadog so efficiently, getting a nice kill. I can't believe the 2-tap that I just witnessed as we see 4 people left. T-Fal taking down Kururu, Caught and Hurt taking down another opponent. There is all sorts of death and destruction happening everywhere as we stick onto Black Labby. Looks like he's going to go for it. Lands onto the Fortitude player. No damage will connect due to that talent. Black Labby's in this chaotic situation where he takes a DF and Hot and Hurt lands a huge slam on him. That is just so unfortunate for Black Labby, who was playing that so well, but Hot and Hurt caught him slipping and managed to smack him up in a time of need. 3 people left in the Becker Breaker Challenge Finals, Game 5. Remember that these matter. Whoever takes these games will have a better chance at winning that first place hollow skin, as Wolf is one of those contestants, takes his way up to this high ground. OSK, what do you think about T-Fal's positioning and chances to win this?
Honestly, he's playing Stone Shaper. He has a legendary stone. It's not the worst position for him to be in, and that zone, as we talked about on game 2, is going to be closing out those higher ground opportunities here. He just has to hang in there for the next minute or 2, and then he'll be sitting very pretty, I think. He has full health, and nothing is going to change that. He has recovery. He has the stone skin ability from Stone Shaper. He is doing just fine.
Nice air shots from T-Fal there. You saw that. He almost got the kill. He was really just 1 tap, and now he's going to get on potting. Just needs to get the 1 tick. This is the issue with Stone Shaper Pyro builds. You don't have a lightning. You just kind of get the... Whoa!
There it is!
Oh my lord. We were talking about Duck Hunt earlier, and it looks like T-Fal has logged in for a game of Duck Hunt as he lands a massive air shot to secure a kill. His opponent is so low. T-Fal is just positioning so perfectly. His opponent takes 2 air shots to the face. T-Fal is just trying to end the game here where he can, and that will be the end of it. The amount of pressure that T-Fal put onto Hot and Hurt to force that misplay, getting that first place placement. OSK, we have been talking about T-Fal all day today, waiting for the pop-off, and I think we finally may have witnessed the start of it.
Yeah, for sure. Now, it's coming a little bit late. It is game 5, so he was in 13th place, I believe, before this game started. So it's a lot of ground to make up. I think he's going to move up into the top 10. I wouldn't expect him to be near the top, though.
Yeah, unfortunately, when we get down to this far into the tournament, guys, next game is the final game of the event. So this is when people realize exactly what they need to get into that top 4 placement. They need to make these plays, and it looks like that's what T-Fal was trying to do. I'm not exactly sure if this is going to put him within striking distance or not. Next did go down that game, but not that early. He went down with still 10 people left. He'll still rack in the placement points. I think he got 1 or 2 exiles, which is really... a great addition, right? So there's not much you're missing. Next is playing a complete game. Even though he's not winning these games, he's playing a complete set all the way through. OSK, is there any other comments you want to make about that final circle we saw?
Man, I want to talk about Black Labby. He upgraded his 2 McDonald meal to a 3 nugget McDonald meal for the absolute price of free. So he's going to be moving up just a little bit on the leaderboard. I don't know how high he's going to be. I didn't quite get his placement from game 4, but it'll be very interesting to see if that pays off for him. I also want to point out that, as we said earlier within the game, the Dark Breakers went out a little bit early, and Gigabyte also went out a little bit earlier than expected as well. So I still think Gigabyte's going to be second place. We'll see if Very Crisp or Scriba is able to pass up the Dark Breakers on that leaderboard as soon as we get confirmation of it.
I'm going to throw out a dream that I would like to see come true here. I would love to see the Dark Breakers come into game 6 and drop a 9 bomb or something
Oh,
absolutely
boy.
absurd. If I see an upset like that to take first place, it's going to be something for the books right there. This whole event has already been won for the books as we've had 5 high intensity games. As we mentioned, Next is still should be holding that first place spot. He has done that since the beginning of today. He came out
Mhm.
eating for sure. And now he's showing exactly what the advantage is to playing aggressive from the start. There's no hesitation in his game. There's no worry in his game. Some people were making fun of the fact that I said he has a strategy. He has a strategy, and that is to kill the entire lobby and take that hollow skin home. That is the strategy. So we're going to see in this final game 6, once we can finalize these scores and see exactly where everybody's sitting, we will wrap it up here. Anything else?
Yeah.
Any predictions you have? Any wild guesses? For example, me saying Dark Breakers might pop off for a 9 bomb. Is there anything you got, OSK?
I wouldn't put it past Darkbreakers to actually drop a 9 bomb, as he's been very vocal in the Discord community about his number of exiles that he can get. I think he recently, either in a solo or a solo squad little event, he dropped an 18 bomb. So he's very good. I want to see if he can drop the 9 bomb. Here's the challenge: it's a competitive lobby.
Yeah.
That's going to be the real challenge. He can definitely do it in a public lobby. Let's see if he can do it in the competitive lobby. If anyone's going to get it, though, if anyone's going to pass up Next, it's either going to be Gigabyte or it's going to be him. So we'll see how well they can do. If Next plays his game and gets maybe 2 or 3 exiles along with a good placement, I don't think anyone's going to pass him up.
Yeah,
That's my
really, this is
prediction.
the whole onus is on Next. If he can come out here, he has the chance to really just close this one down. If he comes in here and he decides to play aggressive and he wipes 3 kills off the start, that might be the conclusion for first place, and he will leave everybody else fighting for second, third, and fourth. But you got to remember that second, third, and fourth prize pools are still something to fight over. This whole tournament is racked up with high prizes, and it is so exciting to see these players play. I can't wait to see the switch and drop. Sometimes some players have these very routine sets that they run every solo game. But when you get into game 6, it forces people to throw a wrench into their plan. For example, if Darkbreakers needs an 8 bomb, he's going to have to drop in a Halcyon Village spot instead of somewhere in the far east side of the map. He has to make an adjustment. And that is what is so exciting about competitive plays. You see these players on the fly making these adjustments. And then you have OSK and I just blabbering on about the plays that we're watching. But that's all we got going here today. Game 6 coming up very soon. We're going to get the results so you guys can recap and see for yourself where everybody's at. Maybe make some predictions of your own on who's going to take this game.
Yeah, for sure. And if we can see this pricing here one more time, I just want to remind everybody what exactly we're playing for here. I mentioned it earlier. Look at first place. Look at second place. 15,000 in-game currency. That's roughly equivalent to $150 of ability to purchase skins, guys. Like when the game releases its store, I know you're all sad about the store not being released. Once it is released, that's a lot of skin money that you can just spend. Like you see something good, I want that skin. Oh, I won this Becker Breaker challenge. Let me grab this beautiful, beautiful upgraded chandelier skin or whatever it is. That's a lot.
100%. So we're going to actually just pull up the results for you just here in a second. You guys will get your own look. You can make your own decisions about what's going to happen in game 6. But to give you guys the quick review, you got Next still in first place with Gigabyte starting to bite at the
Oh
heels a little bit. But the
my.
difference between second and third is monumental, OSK.
Oh my goodness. No, I want to point out something right here. T-Foul was in spot number 13 last game. Look where he is now. Look at that number. He's at number 3. He is making some big movements, and Darkbreakers gets dropped down to place number 7. He has to almost double his score to come back and beat Next. Oh my goodness. He better drop that 9 bomb or he is not getting any prizes. Look at
I'm
this.
starting to think a 9-ball might not even be enough to get him in place, OSK. As we were saying earlier, if Next can come out here, stay consistent, play his game like we know he can, this is over. First place is over. But the determination will come in second, third, and fourth. That is where we're going to see some major movement. Unless Gigabyte can have the game of his life here to secure that first place spot, and that would be a story for us to tell. As we see, as you said, TFL taking a 10-spot jump up to 862. That positioning between third, fourth, and fifth is super close. And this next game is going to determine who lands in those final 3 spots.
And I want to point out something else to you right here. Gigabyte, his gap between second and first place was 250 last game. Even with him dying a little bit earlier than we expected, it's now 150. If he keeps playing the way he's been playing, and look at his damage score, it's absolutely huge. If he just lands consistent damage and maybe picks up a few exiles of it, doesn't die before maybe third or fourth place, he might end up taking the entire thing as a lightning game. Like,
Yeah,
think about that.
100%. That is an interesting point you bring up about damage score. Gigabyte actually has the most total damage in the event at the moment. Next, in a close second, although Next does have the Exile lead by 4, which is very significant to come out into this Game 6, the finale of the Becker Breaker Challenge. Here we go, OSK. Remember, this game is on NA. This will decide everything. This will be the final contest to see who takes home that beautiful hollow skin. We are ready to get right into it here. What is any prediction? One last thing. What do you see coming out here?
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if Gigabyte takes it. As the games have been going on, if he gets a good placement, I think Gigabyte wins. Holy moly, look at all the people dropping. Oh my goodness, they're all going for Himwood. Did you see that?
It looks like just off that off camera, as the spectator goes down, we saw about 9 people going to Himwood. So we might see a bloodbath in that side of the map as we
I
get
wish y'all could
started
see
here.
that.
Yeah, we're going to see exactly what comes from this. So we pop into Game 6, the last match of the Becker Breaker Challenge Finals. Right on to Captain Zarin, who is on that Stone Shaper. I was
About to see a
maybe
lot of
expecting to
action.
see him on that Tempest. I've seen Captain Zarin whip out some really high-level Tempest plays in the past, but today he's just sticking on that Stone Shaper. Fumbles XO killing Bry G212. Julie Cash taking out Mara D. A couple kills coming down here, but we're still at a 33 count for the players in the lobby. Next, gonna slide over in here. This is the high pressure point for Next. This is the boiling point of the event for Next. He has to show up to hold Gigabyte off of his tail as Millsy42 gets a kill as well. 32 people moving through this lobby, OSK. I'm excited to see this.
Dude, I think, honestly, look at that kill feed. 3 of them are legitimate kills. The rest of it is tourney staff. Now there's 4. You're about to see, I think, at least 9. Like, that was a lot of people that just dropped into the Himwood portal. I know y'all couldn't see it off screen, but trust me, my own eyes, I witnessed this. There were so many people going for Himwood. I think at least 9.
Oh
It was
my
crazy.
lord. A hot drop to start here. Brett taking the kill into Fast Cash Kev. I like that username. That is a slick username, but he's down nonetheless. Blue Flu now. We're going to see him come through. He has the hollow skin on. He's flexing the hollow skin. Already has it coming out in this competition. Not going to get first anyway, so it's not a big concern about him doubling up on the hollow. But nonetheless, he's out here with that no belt build. Recovery and focused mana. An interesting one. I've been seeing a lot more focused mana than I expected to today.
Yeah, for sure. And you're seeing Blue Flu flexing the hollow skin, saying, I don't need first place. I already have the skin. If I get it, I'll just give it away. But
Right.
let's see what else he can do in this game. I think at this point, it's just for respect. I don't think Blue Flu is close to getting first place, but if he can get a good placing, that is a very good etch on his name right there.
100%. As you see,
Yeah, I can-
Elpadog getting a kill onto very
Yeah.
crisp. 2 Stone Shapers going at it right there with Elpadog coming out on top. Skriba getting a kill onto RGB Kawaxi as well. Looks like Karuru is now aiming up against somebody, hitting a nice air shot through the door for about 36 damage on top of the armor there. Karuru now just bouncing up through the house, trying to just sneak up on his opponent, going door to door here like a salesman, trying to make sure he can hit some shots, but no damage going to land directly. Now Karuru is going to just take that dash ring to get himself up high. Always see people navigating over for this high ground. It's such a consistent part of these fights as Karuru lands a huge fireball back to back, going for the finish now. What a play by Karuru.
Oh boy.
Only going to take one more. RFJ Brit going down smooth as butter. Karuru showing you that dash mechanics as the Dark Breakers gets the kill onto Blue Flu, who we were just watching a minute ago.
For sure. He saw that target painted on his back, and now he has secured that target. That is 1 exile, hopefully, of the 9 we predicted. It's a very big challenge. It's almost half of the remaining lobby. We'll see if he can get anywhere close to that. It's a slow start so far, but if he can pick up some decent hits, some decent exiles, he might have a chance for that top 4.
Yeah, we see Houghton Herc now without his Featherfall. So he has been rocking either the Featherfall or the Flight build. Maybe he is opting for a Flight in this final round. Remember, we have 22 people, and that mid-game lull is starting to enter. As you see a little bit of a slide here, Darkness Fall 853, who's definitely not a tournament player. So we're going to keep on skipping around and looking for somebody to scrap here. This will definitely be the mid-game lull as we are in the final game. Wolf popping around, throwing out a huge DF and getting the return, but takes a Fireball in return. Now he's just going to throw down that Frost Sword, but it's not going to be enough. He's still taking consistent damage off that AoE tick. Wolf taking his Flight Rune. He's only going to need 1 more Frost Shot to secure the kill. Goes for a fancy little flick, but he doesn't actually pull the trigger. So now Wolf has just done a lot of damage, gotten a nice set of scorecard boosters, but it's not going to get the exile that he needs. Tusk getting a kill, Captain Zarin killing HB Muffin. Lots of work happening as we are witnessing at OSK. 20 people coming through as this circle starts to close up. I am predicting an insane final circle. I think people are going to play passive up until the dying moments when there's just this massive AoE fight that we saw in Game 4 was a good example of what we might see here today.
Yeah, that's going to make the job of some of these players trying to take first very, very difficult. It's going to be very difficult for someone, for instance, Darkbreakers, to really break into that the first 4 bracket, because if everyone's playing passive and staying away from fights, there's nothing to really salvage. You kind of have to go out and actually hunt by yourself, which is even more dangerous, arguably. So we'll see how that pans out for him. Black Labby, he does see somebody right here, trying to land a few extra little frost snipes, but he's just going to back off and play that passive game, like you said.
Yeah, always crucial to make sure you dodge even the farthest of toxic slaps. Although the damage isn't very high, it's frustrating to get hit with the corrosion and be forced to pot. So you see Black Labby completely avoiding any sort of that type of aggravation as Next gets a kill onto Captain Zarin with the toxic. All things aside, Black Labby's looking solidly looted. Maybe just an upgrade on the belt or amulet, but other than that, I think he's ready for a mid-game fight. He gets hit hard for 85 in the face. This might be the end of his game. 2 shots to the back. Black Labby's getting chased down now. It's just going to be 1 more, but he uses his cloud back-to-back. For some reason, the invis doesn't trigger on the second time. Nonetheless, Black Labby just barely escapes with his life. It might not be the end of the story here, though, as he's dodging left to right. Matrix slides, making sure the frost doesn't connect. Oh, there it is on the backside.
Oh my goodness. He moves like they do, but not like them.
Yeah, Black Labby now down to an effective HP of 20. He's getting chased down here, OSK. This might be the last shot into his back. Black Labby might get executed. Smart move to try to break line of sight and go into this underground type of tunnel. And another smart move to break that again, using it twice.
There it is.
Back. Black Labby with the jukety jukes, making that footwork well known. How did he manage to get his reset off here, OSK? He used his cloud twice and fooled his opponent by going up under, breaking line of sight, and sliding through. Beautiful play from Black Labby's. He might have an opportunity to switch the fight up. There was a third party coming in aggressively. Black Labby's going to have to keep mindful of that as he rotates around the rest of the map.
I have an update for you in the kill feed. Gigabyte goes down to DX. He is probably not going to get first place now, so the arena, in the words of Doc, is wide open. That placement is wide open. Who is going to be the man or the very dominant woman and take this tournament, man? Next is still alive.
Take that? Well, the first
Who's
place
gonna take it?
almost certainly secured at this point. As you see, Next has had a huge lead on everybody. The only person who was within stabbing distance was Gigabyte, but it looks like he is down now. As you see Syncade whipping out the mechanics, throwing down double slaps, but only one of them connects. Now Syncade will have to chase closely here. Throws on the frost shot, but it doesn't connect as well. Syncade somehow gets tagged with the corrosion. Now he's going to have to really just rotate his movement, slides his way up, and sees his opponent take the cloud, tries to freeze it, but I don't know if that was quick enough. Sometimes with the Toxicologist, you can't really tell as they get their invis break as well. Syncade V2 knows that there's going to be third parties coming in here. He jumps back through, but gets hit with a bit of a slow. Just in time is right. Now we're down to 14 people in Game 6, the finale of the Becker Breaker Challenge Finals.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Syncade looking to just reset here. We're going to switch off to T-Foul right here. See what he's been up to. Looks like he's pounding the ground in anger at his opponent right here. Taking out the big bow energy. I don't know if that's going to be enough, though. He is so low on health, but he's regenning it so fast with that recovery. He is looking for another reset here. So much action going on right now. So much.
Yeah, T-Fel just trying to break sight here. He does have that Stone Lightning combo that he's so well known for. Has the pocket.
Oh no!
Quick slap in the back. Now he's down to 24 HP and rolling. T-Fel should get out of this one. He just got smacked in the back on his way out of the door. Tusk takes out Skriba. Looks like Tusk is really starting to come into his own in this event now. Picking up kill after kill in both games back to back. Sincade taking out DX2. We saw the end remnants of that fight as T-Fel is going to rotate into another fight. This is such an inopportune moment for T-Fel as he's going to get bursted down here. Stone Slam on his back, 61 HP and ticking. Takes a quick Stone Shaper slam to the ground. Remember, T-Fel's not on his usual conduit today, so he's switching up the build here. Drops the stone. He's actually doing a huge amount of work.
His
Switching his
APM
back.
is insane. His APM is insane. Look at this man go. He almost has it. Just one more hit will do it. And I think he's going to look to do it right here. Just misses the Stone Shaper. Will he be able to get back up on that platform and continue the fight? His recovery coming in pretty nicely. Going to disengage, look to reset as his opponent does the same.
Yeah, that was an insane little scrap there. I thought for sure T-Fel was going to take advantage. What happens when two Stone Shapers kind of just go at it at each other? It's so much sustain involved in those kits that it can be hard to finish a kill, especially with the fear of third parties coming. These gamers don't have an unlimited amount of time to pick these fights. They know that there's going to be opportunists waiting in the shadows, trying to fill in some kills where they can. But overall, it's interesting to see T-Fel on the Stone Shaper for Game 6. Maybe he's having some visions and seeing what he wants to do in this last game. As Tusk, we talked about earlier, getting that kill onto Skriba, 13 people left, and the storm is shrinking here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I want to see if Tusk can maybe break into that little placement category right here. He's been doing very well in these last two games. It might be a little too late. But I want to see if he can really bust open. Looks like he's just planning on doing that because he gets another kill in the kill feed. T-Fel sees a target. He's going to go straight after him right here. And Toxicologist, he's got to be very careful about that burst damage, but his recovery and his stone skin is going to work very well for him in this engagement as long as he can break line of sight.
Yeah, T-Fel just trying to keep himself healthy there, like you mentioned. Break off that line of sight. He's now getting chased by multiple people. I do see in the chat somebody mentioning that T-Fel is getting hunted for the past 5 minutes, and that is true. T-Fel has just been getting chased fight to fight. Very hard to keep agency in this final game if you're getting pushed off objective to objective. Tusk, like you said, OSK, getting his second kill into Tragedy Killer, so Tusk is starting to really ramp up in this game. Maybe we can pop over and see a different perspective as T-Fel has been getting the show here. This is what I like to see. Let's see what the Darkbreakers has in store.
Oh, that flick.
Whip it out.
That flick on the stone. Who says stone doesn't take skill? This man has the aim. And he is
The
just
second we
going.
pop over to the Darkbreakers, he just ground and pounds that kill onto Fake Doc. Now we have 11 people left. Darkbreakers has 2 kills. He's trying to push himself. It does seem like that first place spot may be out of reach now. But the Darkbreakers is positioning himself to try to land himself on the podium at some level or another. Remember, 11 people left in this game. Placement points make all the difference. Darkbreakers knows that and is going to try to take full advantage of the situation.
Yeah, for sure. And keep in mind, there's still 11 people in the lobby. I'm not saying it's impossible to get 9 exiles at this point, but I mean, if anyone's going to do it, this man is definitely in the running. See if he can make it into the prize pool as well. He is one of the prime people to try and make it. Someone we have not seen in the late game so far is Kalnor. He is making an appearance with 1 exile. How do you think he's going to do?
I think he's going to pop off here if he can. I mean, it is the last game, so you have to have that not much to lose for Kalnor as he just takes a shot in the back from the opponent Red Pioneer. He's sliding through, hits a nice shot. That is the pyro practice that you know, but the outbreak slap is too much damage. Kalnor just takes it, but he uses the beautiful
Oh my goodness,
to
it's
get
so
the damage
close.
break. And a 4 tick, he just needs one more smack on his opponent. I can't believe how Kalnor managed to turn that completely.
He's got to watch out for that outbreak slap, though. There's a third party right here. He's in danger right here. 44 HP, now 33. Not going to do him very well, and Tusk takes full advantage. Third partying both of them. The clean sweep. He is looking for a prize today. He is not going home empty-handed.
100%, and we saw Kalnor there just getting his kill stolen at the last second, and then at that point he's overcommitted, so he's in big trouble. Same with Tusk here, who's on 6 kills, but this is going to be the end of his game.
Tusk, that might
Multiple people jumping onto Tusk as he's taking Toxicologist slaps
no.
from every angle. Storm as well. Karuru is going to be the one to secure it there. Karuru now has 2 kills with 7 people left. Remember, Darkbreakers is still in here trying to fiend up for a position in this placement. top 4 all go home with prizes here. So Darkbreakers is just going to aim for anywhere within that slot at this point. I think it is fair to say that first has been largely secured by Next, who should still be in this lobby as well, as Darkbreakers picks up another kill. We are down to 6 total.
About that, Next died to Tusk.
Unlucky there. So it looks like Next is out of the game, but so is Gigabyte. The first 2 spots are both static now. See if anything big can change here. T-Fel taking a little bit of damage, moving around with that teleport as well. Nice little slide. Getting smacked up though. The Bolter does come in return with a 35 damage total cap. Now he's just slamming the ground, getting that HP back. T-Fel's in a very sticky position. Might want to use that teleport to try to break his way out of this fight. What do you think about what we're seeing here, OSK?
What I'm seeing here is absolute domination by Darkbreakers. He just picked up 2 kills onto Syncade and Wolf, and I think that's him trying to get another kill onto T-Fel. He might not get the 9 exiles that our goal for him was, but look at that health. He has so much of it, and he has 3 points into recovery. The only thing he's missing is the last point into fervor. He is sitting very nicely on those talents. Legendary Fire, Rare Stone. He is doing so well. I would not put it past him to win the entire lobby right here. That's what
barely got that kill stolen, OSK. He hit the first fireball, and Hottenherk or Karuru was down to about 2 HP, but he gets taken by Hottenherk. So now Breakers will not secure that 5th kill that we expected to see right there. Darkbreakers now just moving around slowly, like you said, positioning for that HP, getting up to this high ground. That is the move. Sees his opponent so low, needs one more air shot, and
oh my goodness, through the tree.
And he almost lands a secondary as well. Looks like Darkbreakers is looking to just eat this entire lobby in Game 6 of the Becker Breaker Challenge Finals.
There's another one.
Kill onto TNK Big Man.
One more to go.
It is a 1v1 situation. Darkbreakers is 100% HP, and he's going to be eating here. Jumps up, throws the firewall, gets it connected. Boulder does not land, but the fireballs do. As you
there
get back
he is.
Back. In the
Hello,
wave.
indeed. Get the heck out of my lobby. Wave goodbye. That is it for Darkbreakers. 7 exiles. What a game. Not quite 9, but he is going to be placing very high, absolutely optimizing that Stone Shaper build.
Yeah, so we saw just quite a performance there. You saw Darkbreakers whipping it out in a high-pressure situation, getting kill after kill. He really knows the limits of that Stone Shaper class, and you see him using it to the best of his abilities. OSK, we have seen an increase in Stone Shaper play. Usually it's been the staple players you see every time. It's usually Elpadog, Borsellino, and all those guys running it. But we've seen some new faces on that Stone Shaper, like the Darkbreakers, dominating with it. What are your perspectives on the class as it stands?
I can tell you now, Darkbreakers is really proving that as long as you can have a nice secondary from that Stone Shaper, obviously Stone Shaper, it's your main source of utility in that class, but a good aim with a Fire Gauntlet is going to do you some real good. He landed 4 shots in a row on that last kill, all midair, by the way. So even though he can't really damage him with Stone Shaper, as long as you have some good talents and good aim with some other kind of gauntlet, you can really compensate for the lack of accessibility that Stone has on aerial sources of damage.
Yeah, 100%. And you see right there with that, what you were limitations on the Stone Shaper class. Darkbreaker, that final circle was actually one that I would look at and say, I would not want to be a Stone Shaper in this situation. He comes out there and he dominates. He shows that he was being proactive instead of reactive with the Stone Shaper class, forcing his will onto the opponents, using all of those big brain techniques like checking pot spots, throwing fireballs at errant corners, trying to make sure if somebody does move into those areas, you will get the damage down. That is how he secured the kill onto T-Fel. He immediately went and flicked off another character with the air shots. Beautiful to watch all around. I'm so glad we could see witness to that Stone Shaper work. But nonetheless, I do think Next may have taken that one. We're going to wait to see the scorecards confirm what we have on suspicion. But all around, what do you say about what we saw from Next coming out there today?
Next in the EU side, absolutely dominant. You know that he is the best player in EU. And if ping were the same among all the games in the tournament, if there was some kind of LAN tourney we could put him in, he might be the best in the world that we've currently seen. At least that's performing in this tournament. Now, in terms of who could possibly contest him in that, we saw Gigabyte go out way early. I do not think he has a chance to take first. Gigabyte comes out with 7 exiles in first place, or Darkbreakers does. Make sure I say Darkbreakers there. So Next goes out a little bit early on game 6. I think he was around maybe the 8th, 9th, maybe 10th place. I forget what exact position he falls out of. So he's in real danger here, given that Darkbreakers just popped off, basically. He might still
100
have first, but I think it's going to be close.
100%, right? So it's just that moment where you go off at the end to try to secure that scorecard. The hope is that Darkbreaker's managed to work himself into that third place spot and secure it. You know, I'm definitely expecting to see Gigabyte still at that second place spot. I'm definitely expecting to see Next maintain that first place. As we know, he's a champion. Not going to toot my own horn, made that prediction. But
You
what
really
we're
did.
saying here, though, is that what we saw from all of these players all around was insane. And something I want to point out is the difference in classes. You see a Stone Shaper picking up that third place finish, as we're guessing here. Toxicologist taking that first place as well. Scriba playing that Toxicologist too and showing up on it. There's a Conduit on the Gigabyte. So there's a lot of variance that we see from these plays. It's not just all Toxicologists or all the same build. It's there's different styles that people are capitalizing on. People are capitalizing, as you said, Darkbreaker's capitalizing on what he can do with that weird final circle and the Stone Shaper. And he was just doing exactly what he needed to do, getting the job done.
Yeah,
I'm
and I
excited
wanna-
to see exactly what happens with these final results.
Yeah, no, sorry to interrupt you. I want to point out as well that we saw a little bit of play of Conduit and also the previous tournament before this hosted by Element, the Elite Tournament. Conduit, TFAL was running Conduit and ended up winning the entire tournament. So there's at least 3 classes that are in the top 3 right now. I mean, of course, the top 3, at least 3. ignore my speech. But there's Conduit, Stone Shaper, and Toxicologist showing up at the very tip top of play, with Stone Shaper absolutely dominating that last game. So there's a lot of options for competitive players to really choose from here. There's a lot of stuff you can do with a lot of different builds. So it's going to be interesting to see maybe in a future event if people can really break that wide open and see what else they can make use of the different classes as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I was expecting a little bit more pyro play. Saw it from the usual suspects that we knew were going to come in on that pyro, but maybe it's my bias as a pyro player, but I thought that I would see a little bit more to the buffs and the fact that wind does not stifle it completely. I was expecting to see a couple more people whip out the pyro, but I guess the advantage with Toxicologist, the mobility, the outbreak damage, all of those benefits are too much to outweigh. I think another element that plays into it is all the practice that these players have put into their Toxicologist competitive play. It's very hard to convince somebody to make an adjustment or switch classes on something that they're dominant on. If it's not broke, why fix it? As we see with Next taking another first place finish, always on that Toxicologist, always showing up on it, and it's exciting to see. I believe we should have the results coming up very soon, so you can have confirmation on who is going to take that first place. But for now, we're going to keep on reviewing exactly what we saw with that final fight. Insane action all around. Every game. We started with game 1 on Next dropping off 2 people on the rip. We saw multiple fights. Elpadog doing a final circle situation. It all went, and we're going to pull the results right now so you can confirm.
It is very eye-opening and very close for some placements, but not close for others. Next takes it in dominant fashion, with Gigabyte and Darkbreakers being separated by literally 4 points
4.
out of 1,100.
That
Look
is
at that margin.
heartbreaking for Darkbreakers.
Absolutely.
He was 4 total score. He was 4 total score away from taking home the Master Pack instead of the Battle Mage Pack. Nonetheless, what a match we just saw. This is the results that you can now see. Next did end up taking that win with that first place finish. He had an amazing match all around. Gigabyte showing off that lightning, showing off what he can do with that insanely high damage score. Something to keep in mind, though, is that Gigabyte was leading Next in damage score pretty heavily, about 700 points going into game 6. And you see now Next has turned it around and actually closes the gap. Gigabyte still does beat him barely, but Next did a lot of damage that last game that we might not have noticed.
Yeah, for sure. And you see another person up there taking 4th place, TFAL, able to rally it on game four's placement. He was at 13 and he made it all the way up to 4. So very nice turnaround for him as well. Fake Doc just missing out on that placement. Very well played to him, as well as Wolf and Scriba, and everybody played in this tournament. Absolutely amazing games. And Tusk even popping off at the end as well.
So we are going to quickly do a be right back, and we're going to get you some player interviews. In fact, we're going to talk to some of these tournament participants, get an inside perspective, and wrap the entire event up. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This will be a very short break as we hit the be right back. You can keep on reviewing the scores through the command system. Again, this is the Becker Breaker Challenge, organized and ran by students from Becker College, supported by the Element Spellbreak community. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We will be right back. We are
All
back here, and we have the winner with us to answer some questions. OSK, I think you had something you wanted to ask. Fire away at our champion.
Absolutely, absolutely. So next, absolutely phenomenal games all throughout the 6 games. You managed to keep that dominant fashion up on the leaderboard, all the way up to first place, beating second place by over 200 points. Can you take us through maybe those first 3 games where we really popped off? What was the strategy there? What were we really trying to do during those first 3 to really secure an aggressive amount of exiles?
Uh, First 3 games, I actually tried to play it like smart. I didn't try to like go in on everything I saw. I tried to make sure my positioning is good. And yeah, it just happened. Like I got lucky a few times. I played well a few times.
Very, very, very interesting. Of course, it's interesting that you mentioned you're lucky. I would imagine that anyone who can land that amount of fireballs and frost would be very skilled indeed. Maybe a few were luck, but I bet there's a lot of skill behind it. In any case, I noticed that you were using toxic and frost a lot as well, and even picking up fire at one point when the zone was closing in. Can you take us through that just a little bit? Like, what's the logic behind your build exactly?
Yeah, so basically the Frost Gauntlet was nerfed this patch. And like on the last circle, it's really not that useful. So I'm really trying to find a Fire Gauntlet earlier so I can swap for it. Pretty much my goal too.
Right, right. Well, it was insane to see you just go off with any. Sometimes you do see players fixate on a certain build, and it looks like you're very flexible with the way you approach it. It's interesting to me to hear you say that you were playing it safe in those first 3 games, because whenever I had the camera, whenever the camera was on, it didn't look like you were playing safe. You were smoking those lobbies next. Always nice to see you coming out here and slap around. 100% as well. I wanted to mention on the patch, the new patch, you talked about some of the changes. Is there anything else you've seen that's really changed with competitive play since that patch, or is it mostly the same type of builds?
Uh, I honestly think it's mostly the same. Mostly the same. Like people, there's a bit less toxicologists, and there's definitely a lot more stone shapers right now. That's what I've seen, at least.
Yeah, well, I mean, you managed to work all of those classes down with your toxicologist play. Is it a noticeable difference when you switch from those EU games to the NA games? We were talking, but I'm curious from your perspective as a player, is it really that noticeable of a jump moving to that higher delay and that higher input delay?
It is noticeable, but it isn't that much. Like you can see that I played really well the first 3 games, and then I kind of played significantly worse the last 3. But I wouldn't say it's mostly because of the region change. I think I was just tired, honestly. Like the last 3 games, it was kind of tough.
Understandable. I mean, you went through the qualifier process. You've played many games of Spellbreak today, but they're all successful considering the fact that you're walking home with that hollow skin and that master pack. Tell us a little bit about the rewards there. What do you think about the hollow skin itself? What's your opinion on the hollow skin? I have seen a message from you. I don't know how long ago it was, but you said it feels clunky to play with sometimes. I'm offended at that statement, but what do you say to back that up?
Uh, Honestly, it's hard to. It's not that easy to tell why it feels clunky, but I don't know. It's just playing as Marla is feels a lot smoother for me.
Yeah, I feel that. And maybe it's also,
Definitely.
practice on the Marla and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that as well.
Well, anything
Yeah,
you
for
want to
sure.
say to the community? Anybody you want to shout out? Scrim partners that you want to talk about here before we get out of here and let you go and get some rest after all of these games?
Yeah, I wanna shout out to Borsalino, who actually can't play the game right now as he's not home for a long time.
Yeah, shout out to Borsalino.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a very prominent voice in the Stone Shaper community, as is Elpa Dog, who is also in the tournament. Borsalino definitely not one to be left out of the conversation. Hopefully he'll be back playing soon enough. Hopefully his situation as well.
And thank you next. Congratulations again, my man, on taking that place W. I hope you get some good rest and revel in your victory. Thank you again for answering some questions for
Thank you as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that about does it here, OSK. That will be the end of the Becker Breaker Challenge Finals. As you saw, we just spoke with the victor next, taking that first place finish, Gigabyte coming in second, and all of the other placements lining up perfectly. We're going to get over those prizings, but is there any closing comments you want to make about what we saw?
Man, I think honestly, all these players coming out, all 30 of them, they are some of the best in the world at playing Spellbreak. They are absolutely the highest grade of players we could possibly ask for. Next being So Humble, mentioning Borsellino there. We hope to see him back in the competitive Spellbreak community. Hopefully his situation is very well. But in terms of the players playing, we saw a lot of new faces out, and we saw a lot of faces that have made some significant improvements. You can see Gigabyte. I'd never heard of him before, but here he is taking second place. Darkbreaker significantly improved, only in third place by about 4 points, it looks like. Um, definitely, definitely. Everyone doing so well. And here we are with the results one more time. You can break it down. Tfal, always been a veteran of the competitive play, showing up fourth place, gets something for his troubles. And all these new names down here, definitely a lot of new names for me at least. What are some that stand out to you?
Some of the ones that really pop out to me are players like Skriba. He may not have ended in the top four, but I enjoyed watching this man work today. Every time we got onto the spectator cam, he was playing aggressive, playing his style, and playing well. Fake Doc is another player, actually, that when we were watching him, I know he's been a veteran, he's been around, he's been making moves, but to really watch him work on these intense lobbies, sometimes it's hard to tell from the perspective of the viewer that you're in a lobby with only other qualified players. There's no free kills happening out here. And Fake Doc earned every single one of those kills. Again, we want to thank you guys so much for taking the time and enjoying this event. A massive shout out to the students at Becker College. They did so much work setting this up and getting everything together. We are ready to wrap it up here. You have your winner, you have your placements, and we have an amazing event for that you guys could enjoy. Again, thank you very much to everybody who was involved in the process. Some of the team over at Element as well, Thunderson, Zen, Chris, people putting in a lot of work and a lot of time to make sure this event was amazing. Thank you again to the Spellbreak community and the students at Becker College.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you all for joining in, of course. Make sure you give Becker Breaker a follow for anything else that they decide to point out. Maybe not sponsored by Becker next time. Maybe it will. Who knows? Well, I'm looking
100%.
forward to seeing who all comes out. And also, go follow this man right here. He's a very pretty face. Look at those glasses, man. He rocks it so well. That's his Twitter handle right there. Go follow that man. And also follow his Twitch as well. He's
Yeah.
very handsome, has a lot of plays, and
Throw
it's
some
always
love
a joy.
over to the both of us. And before the self plugging gets out of control, we are going to end it here. I hope you guys have an take care, everybody. Thank you for coming through to this event, and we will see you next time.
For sure. See you later.